The time has come for the lioness to tell her own story.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
This is Mama Thea of Asli Pure, and when I want to hear the story from the lion and the lioness, I listen to Lion Voice with Kwasi Bonsu.
Greetings, I'm Sister Aisha Diana Conwood, currently the Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Time for the lioness to roar. You know, this is the lion's voice. Lioness, let's roar, lion pour.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lion's voice. Now put it, I Jollifer said that.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
Jano, I'm so hungry, bro. I haven't eaten all day. Like, my head started to hurt me too. Like, what no could I eat right now?
What about a city samosa? Samosa, a fusion of Indian, Jamaican and African culture. City samosas, the best samosas in the city.
She's like the flowers in my garden, and her heart has never hardened, and she give me loving in the morning. Babylon, you are go far without no warning. Black woman, I said I wanna be your lover, and I don't want any other. You alone, I could have be my children's mother, but no struggles, so we both could help each other. And then I wanna be your lover, and I don't want any other. You alone, I could have be my children's mother, but no struggle, so we both could help each other. Started in the village, now we in the city. Journey where we have together, everybody see. Spent a little time out in captivity. Babylon, their plan was to destroy the family. Still I want you to bring a child for me. Maybe in the spring when birds are sing lovely, maybe we could plan to have a summer baby. I can be the man that you depend on. Put the pen to the paper, made a love song. Babylon, they separated us for so long, and the reason that they hated us was so wrong. Still the most that he created us, we so strong. Then same Kushite and the Dogon. Love your melanin, no follow for them program. Black woman, me not go pass on you for no one. No one, that's my slogan. Black woman, I said I wanna be your lover, and don't want any other. You alone, I could be my children's mother. But no struggle, so people could help each other. Then I wanna be a lover, and I don't want any other. You alone, I could be my children's mother. But no struggle, so people could help each other. She's like the oxygen in my flame, loving where we have nobody can contain. Love so powerful, survive shackle and chain. Love it cross the ocean way before planes. Love survive them torture, rape and dear pain. When one escape, then the other get blame. That's why I never put no one above you. That's why.
What do you have to tell the people about Rastafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. I left himself. Where's my ruler? Hey yo! Yeah, hail him high, hail the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Romans know them just opening them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill. The lion will come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, I and I strive, see sufferation, I and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come if you tell them in a Toronto, straight at Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Menen. My name is Kwasi Bonsu, aka the Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man. I'm a creative industry attorney, I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk Live. Welcome to Lion Talk Live, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lionesses are telling their own story. It is Women's History Month, and we are continuing with our programming, All Rastafari Woman All Month, and we give thanks for the response so far from the global family. It has been mighty. We have learned so much. We have been enriched by the warmth of Mama sharing with us, and it's very important. And as we say, we celebrate Black woman, Rastafari woman all year, but there's nothing wrong with giving a highlight. So, you know, we can utilize the Women's History Month to highlight our sistering above and beyond. But you can go to our channel. We do have a Rastafari woman playlist. We have the largest repository of the voice of the Rastafari woman on the internet from all over the earth. So definitely go check it out. Support the Rastafari women. All of them are entrepreneurs in some way. So when you watch the videos and they give their information, spend some money with them, you know what I mean? So that we can build
circulate this Rastafari Pan-African dollar. You know, Ayman say all the time, no one is coming to save us. And it starts by building that love, that trust within us as a family. And saying that, we want to just give a respect. We had the memorial for Mama Fire in Jamaica that just took place. Many ones came, well-produced event. We've been watching the clips online. We want to just say respect to our elder Nyabingi matriarch, Mama Fire, who was put to rest by the Rastafari community, and in particular the Nyabingi house. And it shows the evolution of the tribe, because there was one time in Nyabingi we said, let the dead bury the dead. Now catch a bingy man, I got funeral, but we've had an unprecedented wave of death that has reached us, and that reality. And it's not fair to, leave our great ones to others, and sometimes it's not done ceremoniously to the tribute of the lives that they've lived. So the evolution is taking place with Rastafari. Nothing is static in iration, you know what I mean? So big up Mama Fire, big up Raspele, who was on the platform, all of her daughters. We just want to say heart of love to the entire family. We also had the memorial of our elder Ras Joe Cooper here in Baltimore area. I passed through briefly, wasn't able to stay long, but just to show the respect of a mighty angel again, passing from the physical realm. If you have not seen both Mama Fire and Ras Joe Cooper, their final testimony is on the platform. We were able to capture their story in their own voice, so they live on forever, you know what I mean? And they were able to tell their stories on the platform, so you can go and watch those episodes. Ras Joe Cooper, reggae legend, one of the pioneers in the formation of reggae, work with Bob Marley, you name it. And Mama Fire, Nyabingi matriarch. So big up all of our Asians who are passing. Big up the youth them, you know what I mean? If you saw at the beginning, we had a commercial from Princess Sitota, our youth entrepreneurship program. We are opening the platform for young people, any Rastafari youths under 20, free advertising on the platform. So you see City Samosa, and I'm telling the Lion Pride in Jamaica, because we know say Jamaica is one of our main markets. Anywhere you see this young entrepreneur, buy out her inventory. Let's put this young lady under some pressure. You know what I mean? When she roll out with our samosas, buy 5 and give them away, or eat them or take them home. But let us put her under some pressure of supply and demand, and teach our young people how much we love them, and we encourage them to bring forth ideas. We want to see these businesses build and scale so they can employ other Rastafari people. We're not going to keep our youths in the livity unless we can employ our youths or provide opportunities for employment or business ownership for our youths them. So big up Princess Sitota, big up Ras Ibi Lion, the Honorable Kez Haile Mikael, priest of the Orthodox Church's daughter. Big up the whole family. We are here again. If you have a young Rastafari youth under 20, let us know if they produce their commercial and they are trying to build their brand, globally, because there's no such thing as a local business anymore. Build the brand, because when people visit your area, they'll come looking for the eye, you know what I mean? So it's all about brand awareness, and we're opening that for our young people. As you can see, the show is evolving. We also have flyers now for the different regions. So we are, creating the platform so as a centralization hub for the global Rastafari family. We talk about the oneness. Now we have to manifest the oneness. So big up the Rastafari family in Chicago doing their Empress Menen Day coming up. Big up Empress Menen Rising in Trinidad with the event coming up. Big up the Yashima Bet Foundation in Jamaica doing their Care Day April 6th. And big up the Association of Rastafari Creatives also having our virtual meeting on April 6th. So this is the place that you come to when you want to plug in and see. As you know, we are in the Armageddon. If you are not organizing and centralizing, then, and you say Rastafari, I don't know what to tell the eye. I'm not going to spend too much time with the eye, though. I tell the eye the truth. But for those who are looking to plug in and to play their role, in this great gathering, the uprising, the great return, you know what I mean? During the fall of Babylon, we're writing the story as we speak. Watch the channel, plug in, see where you can join an organization, support a cause. You can become part of our Patreon, Lion Pride on Patreon. We are ending our special that we had up until April 1st. We are going for our 100 Lion Pride strong. Right now we're at 30. If you get in before April 1st, you'll have access to the free one-on-one consultations. After April 1st, we're going to do something different for the Patreon. Big up everyone who scheduled their consultations, and we're building their platforms right now. We're going to interview all of these brethren and sisters who are there on the platform, help them launch out their platforms, give them that Lion Pride love. Some brilliant creators, Rastafari creatives. I tell you, I'm very passionate about this, building this Rastafari global ecosystem. And so we're looking for others. If you're interested, you have a business or a service, you're trying to build your global brand, you know what I mean? You've been spinning your wheels, join the Patreon, $10 a month and up, and you will, get access to that one-on-one consultation. As the item know, I'm a creative industry attorney. I do creative industry work. This is my passion. You're seeing the building of the Lion Voice Network in front of your face. Big up all of the Lion Pride. We're 31,000 plus strong right now, getting ready to touch 32,000. We're still the fastest growing Rastafari platform on the planet, and we're just getting ready to press gas. Family, tonight we're going to introduce our lineup for our annual Empress Menen panel. Producer, do you have the flyer ready? April 3rd, our second annual Empress Menen panel. We started last year with a panel. It was so sweet. It was so sweet. I say, you know what, Afi, do this as an annual event. This year, we have a dynamic panel of Rastafari sistering. I'm so excited. Can you pull up the flyer? Let us announce to the people who's on this panel. You have to spread this far and wide. This is event television that we are creating on the Lion Voice Network. So this is the Empress Menen panel, life, legacy, and impact, of Empress Menen. So we're going to go through the history. We're going to talk about the legacy, and then we're going to talk about the impact. We may also have a special guest not announced here as well. Look out for surprises. Lion Voice Network, we're at the level now where we might just surprise you sometime, or we may not, but this is a power panel. We have Dr. Asantua Opongwade, professor, co-founder of Empress Menen in Chicago. We have Dr. Jazanai Kush. She's a prophetess, founder of Blue Fire Order and Blue Fire I Treat. And she's a college professor as well. We have Empress Dion, who will be representing Empress Menen Rising. We always have to include our Trinidad family, Empress Menen Rising. Big up Empress Sharon and the whole team over there. So Empress Dion will be representing the Empress Menen Rising collective. We have the artist Janine. If you have not seen our Janine Reasoning, go watch our Janine Reasoning. Sistrin is ready to work and pushing some powerful vibration. Janine is going to join I and I. This is next Thursday, Empress Menen Earthstrong. Dr. Walete Beresford, one of our biggest supporters here on the Lion Voice. She's part of our Lion Pride on Patreon. She's one of I and I closest advisors. We work together in the anniversary of development of Rastafari. She's a librarian, master researcher. She'll be on the panel. And finally, we have Empress Cyanide Fleury. She is the editor-in-chief of Just Jam magazine out of the UK. She said she's willing to stay up past midnight to be on this panel, bringing in the UK family. And we have a exclusive reasoning with her. The first clip is going to drop on Friday, so stay tuned for that. Just Jam magazine, Rastafari, independent, non-aligned media. We're coming together. We're going to be doing more works with this sister. So powerful panel. Put it on your calendar. The Empress Menen panel, Life, Legacy, Impact. This is the second annual. This is going to be an annual event on the platform. If we are saying that we're Rastafari independent, non-aligned media, then how we can have special programming on Empress Menen Earthstrong? You know what I mean? That don't make no sense. So we have to do that. And again, we're going to talk about the history. We're going to talk about the legacy of Empress Menen, both in Ethiopia and beyond, you know, through the Rastafari woman. And then we're going to talk about the impact, you know, globally that Empress Menen has had. So give thanks. You can take that down. We are moving. Before I get started, let me just big up Raslage, Ramia King Design. When you see I Sip is a Rastafari business. Big up Wally King's CMAS Life, Wally King's Graphics and Design. All of the sponsors who make this worthwhile endeavor. Big up Prince William, our latest Lion Pride on Patreon. The brethren came in at $40 a month. Big up yourself. You know, any amount that you can afford, we give thanks. And some people had to leave, and when they leave, they tell I, you know, it's a rocky economics, and we give thanks. Trust I, even if it's a month you come in, we do give thanks. We know it's Armageddon. So the few that we have, you know, we're not greedy. We give thanks for all that the Most High give, and we'll patiently do the work until the rest can come in and join. And we have a world-class media operation in front of us. So big up Ubuntu Lion Pride, one-time contribution of over 70 US gets you on the Ubuntu Lion Pride. That's going to raise this summer to $100. As the platform grow, you know, it costs more, you know what I mean, to become part of the Ubuntu. Because a one-time cost, you memorialize for as long as the channel live. If you're in the Ubuntu, you're Ubuntu, because I am, because you are. Because you took that time to attribute, you'll be immortalized. And what we're going to do when we build out the physical side for the network is we're going to have a wall with the first 100 on that wall, you know what I mean, as a tribute to the ones who saw the vision from early. You dare them thought we were going to stop on YouTube. Don't feel that way. You dare them don't know I and I too well. But we are learning each other, and that is beautiful. We're getting ready to celebrate 3 years on the internet, and it's been a journey. Some of the items have been here since under 100, and you see I talk the same way I was talking then. I talk today because we had the confidence of the power of Kadamawi Haile Selassie the first, and to show ourselves how powerful we are. No mix-up, no blender, just the glory of I and I King, I and I King of Kings, I and I Empress, I and I people, you know what I mean? Straight, no water down, authentic, rootical, and you see what we have built, and it's just growing as the word spreads. So, and we're not going to dilute the thing, you know what I mean? So, let us get into our guests for tonight. We have a very exciting topic. I've been waiting to talk to this sister. We talked to our Kingman first. Ambassador 7, Ras Basali, was on the platform right after coming from South Africa. One of the classic episodes. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. And now we are reasoning with the Empress, you know what I mean, the royal queen, you know what I mean, and it was an epic love story. We heard the brethren side. We want to hear the sister inside now. As the item know, this is a family channel. We promote Black family, Rastafari family, Pan-African family all day. So we love that, so our young people can see, yes, there's hope. Yes, love is real, it exists. So we're going to touch that, but that's not the topic. The topic tonight, we're going to go into the food reasoning. Ital. You know, the whole thing now is vegan, Ital, but we have junk food vegan, eating all plant-based, but you're not eating healthy, you're not balanced, the food is not nutrient dense, it's processed. We're gonna go into the food, and we have a master chef. We have a business owner, Speedy Redemption, Deli, Ital, you know what I mean, raw food and deli in St. Thomas, VI. They have branched out from 1 to 2 locations. Upscale thing we are talking about now, you know. We are talking about in upscale mall. We are talking about Rastafari taking it down to the harbor, you know what I mean. We're talking about something that is substantial, professional, award-winning, you know what I mean. So, Lion Pride, please help I to welcome our guests for the evening. Show the love in the comments. The Royal Empress, Empress Karima. Royal greetings, my sister.
Greetings, greetings.
Rastafari,
It's
Rastafari.
like Honorable Dejazmatch Kwasi. Give
Yes.
thanks for such, wonderful works that the I is doing, because Rastafari is international, and, this is like a central point that brings the Rastafari voice out, by us, for us, and for the world to see and be inspired, and not from what someone else say, but we ourselves, So I do give thanks, that I see it necessary to continue such works, and I just, glorify the Most High, Haile Selassie first and Empress Menen, for giving I and I the health, strength, and the vision that I and I could be an ensample and walk in their uprightness and integrity. For who don't know, again, like the Honorable Brethren, they say, my name is Honorable Empress Karima. Birthed in St. Thomas. I wasn't birthed the way the average person is birthed in this day in a hospital. And I'm thinking it has a lot to do with my lineage as I grew and I understand who my great grandmother was in her days. I know her as Grandma Rosa. And she was actually the town's midwife of Tatola.
Okay.
Basically, my mom and dad, who are Rastafari and is Rastafari to this day, they birthed me within the Rastafari livity.
Haile.
And they were determined from my brother, who was born before me, that they would have a different lifestyle. So they went to this place called Estate Harmony that you could actually overlook an ocean view. And they had their own vineyard that they would eat from. They would grow their own foods. They would have, trails that they would go find coconut, find papayas, especially mangoes, especially living here in the tropics. There's so much different nutrient-rich foods that you could find. And they were able to find that, and sustain themselves in this area, in their shanty, because it was quote unquote a shanty at that time, built with a wooden structure. It was like one little bedroom, and it was, just my father and my mom. And then they brought forward my brother in 1980. And at that time, actually, my uncle, which is my father's twin brother, he is also in the Rastafari livity.
Okay.
And they all lived in this shanty together, together, and just survive, study the culture, and they lived the livity. They didn't just speak it, and when it was time for my birth, we were also still in the hills, as they call it at that time. And my mother had given birth to me in the hills, and I spent, I would say my first 2 years in the hills there in Estate Harmony, until the system, they like to say we squatting. And unfortunately, they destroyed my mom and dad's shanty. Of course, we know back in those days, in the 70s, 60s, early part of the 80s, Rastafari was not loved. Rastafari was not honored. And when I say Rastafari, I'm talking about Rastafari's people, because of course Rastafari has his name, but we were called by his name. So when I say
Yes.
Rastafari, I'm referring to his people, of course. And being chastised, and we went through a lot. We were ostracized, and in tearing our shanty down, we had to go and live with folks within the projects that were already living there. One or two Rastafari families, and it didn't take too long before my mom and dad was able to get a home of their own within a place called Ras Valley. That's no longer in existence now. But I spent the rest of my I would say teenage life in Ras Valley. And I would say my father has been like a great foundation when it comes to teaching me of Haile Selassie himself, going into the scriptures in Revelation, revealing Revelation 5:5, and, showing me of the true and living King of Kings, that Marcus Garvey spoke about, that we must take for our God and King, And my mom being the holistic person, she always believed in her job, always kept herself modest, humble, respectable, and as far as I could know myself, my mom have always been in the kitchen. She was never those type of moms that would depend on McDonald's or, depend on going and purchasing foods from restaurants. Always kept us close and well groomed as her princesses, And, her being my greatest example, I was able to have a person that I could emulate, until I got to learn more of Empress Menen. Because at a young age, even it's in the culture itself, Empress Menen was never in the forefront. It was always Haile Selassie first in the forefront. If we study the glory of Rastafari, livity. However, as I grew, and started to gain my own knowledge, gain my own understanding, I would say at the age of about 13.
Okay.
And my sister, one of my sisters, I'll never, ever, ever, ever lose, because I feel like she's, people talk about twin flames. It doesn't have to be like a man and a woman. It just be souls that knew each other from distant times, Tanya, I remember days of us just, sipping on some spice, at that young age. Yes, we were sipping marijuana. We was reading all the different Jahog books, and just looking at the time, like we had a certain prophetic vision from that young, mystically. It had a lot to do with the times we were living in, the connection that we had as sistrins, my father's determination. My father was like, you're not going to go out on the street. You're not going to go and purchase any herb from anybody. What you need, you have right here. And I give thanks to my parents for that opportunity, because a lot of youths didn't get that opportunity, so
yes.
I give thanks that they were able to supply me with what I needed so that I could have a foundation to build on, so to speak.
Yes.
My herb was provided by my dad, and then when my father and my mom, they eventually separated, I was in, I would say middle school at that time, like I would say about ninth grade. And my mom, of course, the children is going to move with mom, especially as princesses,
Yes, of course.
And my mom was actually, she became like my closest friend or sister, because I moved from where the neighborhood was, when me and my sister Tanya was always connecting. And, even before I go to school, I would be able to live my heavens according to how we speak in the Rastafari terms. Fortunately, I had vaccine. Nobody would know in school, the teachers and all of them, that I had to do my thing before I come to school, but that helped me to keep myself grounded and focused, and I felt like some of my best years were in my high school years, when I had found myself more. I think most of us get to live better years when we understand ourselves more so, some of us learn a little later, some of us learn a little earlier. But for me, I would say my eyes have been open from a very young age. And I would say, again, give thanks to my parents, and I would say as well, it has a lot to do with the constellation, because I believe in the constellations. I believe in the heavens declaring the glory, as the scripture did say, you know, and it has a lot to do with our personalities, you know, our outlook on life, you know, besides just our experiences, you know.
And let me say that the I shatter the stereotype of second generation and Rastafari families. The I sit, even though you know you described use of the sacrament from a young age, going to school. There is a successful businesswoman, successful family woman, stable marriage to another second generation Rastafari. You know what I mean? So to I told the I King man this, the I them are like a model, you know, it's like a proof of concept that, you know, if you stick to the livity, you know, and you really work hard, you know what I mean, and live, that there is a reward, you know. So I really just want to big up the I, you know, for that. And but continue with your story from high school.
Yes, mystically, as you mentioned, our coming together, you know, Basa and I, when we came into the shanty, the concrete jungle, so to speak, or when we came into the projects to live, my mom and dad, you know, would continue to communicate and link with other Rastafari families. And, you know, we would do programs together. We would always go to different cultural events. And I could remember my mom was so determined to not put us into daycares and stuff like that at a young age that, you know, she would actually babysit a lot of the Rastafari families' youths. So my mom's house would always be full with youths, you know. And as far as I could remember Bassa them being around from them time. You know, I more remember his brothers because
Yes.
we were 5 years apart, so to speak.
Okay.
You know, so since my father and my mom and his father and his mom were brethren and sistren, that's how we were able to know each other from those times. And then I remember there was one year, it was in 1997. We went over to St. Croix because my mom would always go to St. Croix and she would be staying with Bassa's mom, which is Empress Rashima.
Yes,
And they
yes.
would go to all the different reggae shows because St. Croix back then was very, very popular with the conscious music. And, you know, everyone used to want to go to St. Croix to the shows. So my mom would always go. And that year, because around that time, which is January of 1997, they would have the carnival at that time. The Christmas festival is what they call it in St. Croix. So I remember she was saying, let's all go. So we all went at that time, except my dad. My dad didn't come for some reason. And it was at that time when I met with Bassa again, you know, and basically he wasn't living with his mom.
Okay.
He had went to the States to kind of finish school and stuff like that. But at that time, we both came to visit his mom. He came to visit his mom. I came over with my mom to visit. So it was like kind of like a reunion happening, you know?
Was it like a movie where you feel the sparks fly and fireworks and
Mystically, honestly, I'm gonna be honest.
yes.
I would say I was 15 at that time, right?
Okay.
And being in my heavens, like I said, I feel like I matured early, very early. And I would look around and I would be like, this is not the type of person I would want to be with. You know what I'm saying? So when I went to St. Croix and I saw Bassa, he's of course Rastafari. You know, how he reasons now. He's been reasoning like that. Always very extensive in his reasoning. You know, and it might sound a little strange, but I guess this is where the movie thing comes in. I remember one time I was on his mom's balcony and his grandma a little distance up. I would say about 3 or 4 houses up on the opposite side of the street from his mom. So I saw him coming down the street. This is probably like our second or third night of being by his mom's home. And something about his walk just captured my attention. Like, oh my goodness, like, I wonder if this is Like like a feeling just came over me, right? And we were reasoning that night. I could remember clearly.
Yes.
And we were making some sandwiches, some tofu sandwiches. And it had a period of time when me and him was in the kitchen at the same time together.
Yes.
And I watched him. This is the first time ever. I don't know if I would ever do it again, but it was unorthodox. I watched him in his face and I was like, do you have an empress? You have a queen? Because at that time, I was done already speaking the Rastafari lingo,
Yes, yes.
I said, you have a queen. At that time, he was like, no, I'm not really in a relationship, with anyone, at the time. So I was like, okay, I'd like to be your queen,
What?
Yeah, I told him straight up.
Big up yourself.
I would love to be a queen, but he was like, it wasn't sinking in him right away, because he was like, I don't think that's gonna work because you're like my sister,
Yeah.
I don't know what came over me, if it was just the spirit within.
Vision.
Yes, the vision. But I watched him in his face again and I told him, I don't want to hear that. Like, just like that. I said, I don't want to hear that. Like, use mine. Like, ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're mine.
This is a movie. I just want to know. I'm seeing the whole script. It's a movie. That's epic. You know what I mean?
It is when I think back. When we think about it and we talk, we used to look out at the stars, Saturn. And Saturn have this way, when it's in the heaven, it actually blinks different colors. Like you would see red, gold, green, blue. So we would always talk about our star. That's our star. And we would look to the eastern side of the house when we're on the balcony reasoning. We'd be reasoning for hours and hours and hours.
What year was that? What year was that?
That was 1997.
97, and you were 15 at that time. And how old was Basali?
He was actually 20, I think, because we 5 years apart. So I was making, I make 16, and he would make 21. Then when I make 17, he would make 22.
Okay, that's why he was cautious, because you're young,
Correct.
Yeah, big up yourself, King. But I think that's so powerful in terms of second generation connecting like that, and the family that you've built, we'll talk about that because you're also a mother, and as I said, the example of the family that I see is commendable. You know what I mean?
Right.
We really give thanks. So what was it like growing up in St. Thomas in the 90s? That was a big time for Rastafari in Jamaica. But what was it like in St. Thomas?
For me, I would say it was also a growing thing, interesting. And my mom, like I said, she would always, whether it's Kwanzaa, whether it's a Rastafari community event, we would always be there. She would always make sure we come, embrace the other youths, she would be there with her sistrins, just reasoning, vibes. And I could remember one time I think I was about 7, if I'm not mistaken. And there was a program in the Emancipation Garden, because a lot of the programs used to happen either in the Pearson Garden or the Emancipation Garden, sometimes in the housing community as well. A lot of different events would take place, from the Rastafari, community. And we were actually, myself and the artist known as Empress I, we were part of this group that our moms put together. And we would do these African dances. So we were doing an African dance at one of the events, So these are the things that help to keep me grounded, from the onset, that constant. It was like it was a livity for me. It wasn't just something that we talking about, Same thing with our family now, as we as I was reasoning, when we did come together, Bassa and I, one of the things we spoke about was the union of Solomon and Sheba, And I remember him saying, what we were always saying to each other, what Jah put together, no one can break asunder, And those are the words that we would always utter. So with our firstborn coming, Queen Makeda Nefertari, she being a powerhouse herself, as they grew, I in St. Thomas, and I was teaching Empress Tamali and Empress Tasha. We came together and we also formed a group for our daughters, called Queens of the Earth. And the same cultural things that, I could remember growing up doing, Empress Tamali, grew up doing, we started to make sure we have that going for our daughters to keep them grounded, keep them focused, keep them having pride. Because I think one of the things that make our youth stray is them not being able to be a part of and having pride within the livity, and that's something that I'm noticing a lot in South Africa. A lot of the people, the young people especially, have a lot of pride in the Rastafari culture and livity, and I mean, it's unfortunate that sometimes, families break apart. There's a lot of, as much as it has the good, it has the negative, where we have a lot of backbiting, and then the youth would see these things too. That's why I respect even the ancient times and even our grandparents' time when they would always make sure they separate the youths. You know what I'm saying? When they have to discuss certain things. And when I was growing up, I could remember if my mother and father have to discuss something, they would always separate themselves. We would never be right there in the midst of them hearing everything, and that shows respect for youths. And I think some of us have lost respect for youths, is what caused them to drift and stray because they're hearing too much that's going on in what's supposed to be a pure livity.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I glorify that, again, I was able to have that foundation, so that I could be an example for my princesses as well,
And how many children do the item have now?
We have 7 altogether.
Give thanks.
Raspasa, he has 9, because he has 2 that he had gotten before me and him came together.
Yes.
But I do have 7 with him. 24, and now we have a 5-year-old Prince Emmanuel in the fold, So it's a mystical thing, how the union came, because as I mentioned, the heavens declaring the glory, there's some things that have aligned that have made me see why we connected more so than anything else, because I don't know if you're familiar with Priest Isaac, but he breaks it down very well in the heavens declaring glory when he talks about, the union of the Virgin, and of course the Lion of Judah, and then he talks about when the Virgin gave birth to the scale, which is the just man, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
Then the just man, there comes the dragon there to devour. Same thing written in the scriptures, right? So above, so below. And then there's right after the serpent, there's the one that's there to slew the serpent, which is the Sagittarius. And then right after the Sagittarius is the man and the horse, so to speak. It's actually a horse. They call it a unicorn. I mean, a goat now, but in the ancient astronomy and astrology, it's actually a unicorn, right? And if we study the Ethiopian glory, the generals, the field marshals and the generals, they would always have these fleet of thoroughbred white horses, right? And only like the commander-in-chief, like Raskasa, His Majesty, they would ride on these white horses, right? So when the Sagittarius and the white horse is right there with each other, that shows you that same type of, I don't want to call it ideology, but the mystics, with the heavens that reflects itself on the earth,
as above, so below. As above, so below.
Birth of our children, all of them follow that whole path. And I being a Gemini, quote unquote, I'm actually what they would consider the cherubim and seraphim, right? The guardians of the ark, right? And then him being of Leo, the Leo constellation, right? And then as they go on, from July go straight down, August, September, October, November, December, January. This is how our family is. June, and then him being in August, September, October, November, December. So it's like the heavens declare the glory right in between our livity, our life. Because Emmanuel, who's actually the seal up of the family, the little prince, the only thing that was missing was that Virgo. the virgin that
Okay.
gave life to the just, the
Yeah.
balancer. And so he
Yeah.
came and claimed his space, as number 7 and still 9 at the same time because he's the 9th in the family.
Wow. Wow.
But I just give thanks for that beautiful vibration, that helps us to see the vision of who we are, that our children could have something that they could build upon as well. It's just a mystical thing, and I do appreciate love the fact that I was able to even learn, of such, because what might go over some head, I was able to grasp it because again, I'm studying the livity from my youth, and I'm
Yes.
not just going, by he say, she say, or what the priest them
You're
say.
living the liberty.
You have
Yes.
to live it, you have to study, like the priest them of the Bobo Ashanti livity that says, study to make yourself approve,
Okay. So when I was trotting as a youth, were your parents trotting within any of the established mansions, or were they just trotting Rastafari?
They were just trying to Rastafari. And I think that was the best thing for I, because it have taught me to live in the liberty freely, not be in the liberty and still be in bondage, because that has happened to us too. We have found ourselves, I like to speak the truth. So it's not about me sugarcoating things to make it sound like everything is always perfect.
Yes.
But there were times, even within the Naya Bingi house, where the voice of the woman was kind of suppressed. They couldn't do certain things. If your hair ain't covered, then you'd be considered not an empress or not a queen or not worthy of being Rastafari. These are the things that I didn't have to live through. Because my mom, being as short as she is, because she's very short, she's probably like a little over 5 feet, 5 feet, 2 inches, maybe the most. And my mom would never have her hair fully covered at this age, and as I remember myself coming up, because of her height, one, she has bobo too, and to have them keep up on top of her head, it would mess with her spine. So for her, it was like, I'm just free. And I was raised in liberty with that freeness. My father would never, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do this, or you should. We were never in bondage in the liberty. We were able to just live the liberty freely.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, I was
because
able to.
I don't think I've ever seen the eye without the eye locks covered. Growing up so free, what made the eye choose to now, adopt some of the order of like a Naya Bingi sistering or a Bobo Shanti sistering, which are considered the more strict orders within the livity. What made the eye adopt that image?
I would say everything starts from within, right? And although, like I say, I had my mother as a perfect example, there was a vibe within me. Like I say, it sparked when I was about 12, 13. By 14, when I actually put my locks in, I put my head wrap on. And mystically, I used to play basketball, right? People like, you to play basketball? Like one of the top players, right? Till I even had a scholarship.
What?
But when I was in high school and I had put my locks in 9th grade on the basketball team, I would have my turban on, right? All school year. It was time to play sports now. You can't play sports with your head wrap on. And I'm like, okay, well, nobody gonna get me to take it off. When I realized I'm sitting on the bench, my team literally needs me on the court. I had to go and get, I don't know if you remember those headbands, they were kind of very thick.
Yes, yes.
Textile, and I had to take off my head wrap, shack out my roots, and just wear my Nike because I loved playing the sports too, you know?
Yeah.
And that would be one of the only times people would actually see my locks, or if I'm on the beach. Sometimes I would even have it covered on the beach.
Yes.
But it's something inside of me that yearned for that churchical aspect,
okay,
that ceremonial aspect, and I don't think it's just within Rastafari, but when you look on the global scale, when it comes to a woman going into a church setting or being in a place where ceremony is going on, the scriptures spoke about it too, and having her head covered and stuff like that, which I see that as an allegory too. in prayer, the man being the head of the family, I would say is your responsibility as well as the woman to pray for your king man. So I see that as not only just covering your head with a head wrap in prayer, but also covering your head, which would be your king man as well. Being your, yeah, that's how I saw it too, and then coming to the Bobo Ashanti Livity, I came to the Livity, I would say I think I was 18 at the time, but before that, I had this yearning to want to go to the Beanie House too, because I would see them come to the schools, they would yarn Ises and stuff, and, when they need somebody to come read a scripture, I would go up, read the scripture, I would just always connect with the Beanie. So I think that divinity within me, because we're not souls that just came. I feel like one of those souls that have been here from in the ancients of times. And my last presentation that I did at the Empress Menen, the Blue Fire Leadership Retreat, I did a presentation on the Sibyls. If you're not familiar with what the Sibyls are, the Sibyls were considered the first to receive the original prophecies, where the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, all these written prophecies were actually first revealed to females, these women of right, these righteous women, right? And I feel like I'm directly connected to them. Even one of my spiritual sisters, she told me that directly too, as I continue to learn more about myself. When that was mentioned to me, it confirmed for me who I am.
What do they call the Sibyls? You said the Sibyls?
Sibyls, yes.
Okay, right? I'll have to look them up. And you said they were the original prophetesses?
Correct. The original. Anything concerning, sorry.
Go ahead.
Anything concerning spirituality, civilization, healing, anything concern what they call magic, right? Knowing how to manipulate the sciences, right? Came from these Sibyls because they were directly connected to the creator. And of course, a lot of ones gonna judge me, but I'm fearless right now because like His Majesty said, we have to become that race that the world have ill prepared us for. So some things that are orthodox, it might seem unorthodox when I'm speaking, but this is how I'm seeing things based on what have been revealed to I. Because coming to the Bobo,
a long time, from birth.
And then coming to Bobo Ashanti as well, it have opened my eyes to questions that I've had, because I've had many questions as a youth. Like I said, we would stay in the scriptures, and some of the things I would always ask, well, how is Majesty gonna be the King of Kings and still be the lamb to the slaughter at the same time? Like, it wasn't adding up for me. You know what I'm saying? So as I came to Bobo Ashanti, it taught me of the mother, father, and the child. It taught me of the lamb, Emmanuel himself, the Christ, the one who came and sacrificed his life for I and I, to know who I and I is. Someone's misinterpret how I and I as Bobo Ashanti cite Emmanuel and think we're praising him or we're giving him honors outside of his imperial majesty. However, we know better than that, because it's a Trinity that we're hailing, not to say Emmanuel himself. And if you look at the term Emmanuel is interpreted God, Amlach, with us. So it's the same Haile, Selassie in reverence and the mother of creation. You understand? So when I'm speaking of the creator, as I was mentioning, with these Sibyls that we would read the Sibyls, I consider myself a Sibyl because what was revealed to me, even through force, when I did the presentation, things that connected that if I go deep into it, is a whole topic by itself. Even with the birth of my mom being, at 15 years, she had this serpent around her neck. As I studied what the feather snake and all of that represent, and the Amengazi woman would always have these snakes, those were people who represent themselves on earth as God and Goddess, quote unquote, for lack of a better word, the Amlachs of creation, right? These goddesses, these Sibyls, who are directly connected to the creator, who I see and know as Empress Menen. You understand? Not relegating our King of Kings, because at the end of the day, they came together to create this life, to bring this life forward. However, we've been taught about the Alpha and Omega, right? We've been taught about the creator. And of course, in Livity, we've been seeing Haile Selassie as that, the all in all, until Bobo Ashanti taught me different. of the mother of creation being reverenced. And as I continue to study more, this year have revealed certain things to me. Not this year, 2024 have, certain things have been revealed to I, where I would actually, from I think it was in 1999 into 2000, when I first started to hold the 21 days principle, I would literally reverence the mother of creation throughout the whole time, right? Not again disregarding the king, but that felt like a time I could really connect to the mother. Certain things would come to you divinely as a woman when you take the time to have the 21 days principle and practice it, study, embellishing it, because it was never something as like a slavery thing where the man would have you on the side, keeping you out of stuff. It was never supposed to be like that. Emmanuel said that so we could have a voice, so we could know ourselves more, so we could connect to the mother. The mother gave him that responsibility. Because if you study one of Empress Menen's titles, one of her titles is a Supreme and Just Majesty, right? Okay. So if she's a Supreme and Just Majesty, look at this world. They mimic everything off of I and I too, right? They have the regular courts, and then when they have to deal with something of paramount importance, you go to the Supreme Court. Right? Same thing in the Bobo Ashanti Livity. The Women's Freedom Liberation League, which we celebrated the 45th anniversary Sunday that just forward, on the 23rd day. When Emmanuel set the Women's Freedom Liberation League, he set it in a way that we could have a voice, and not only have a voice, have a say. Any kind of discrepancies or anything, the Women's Freedom Liberation League was supposed to rectify it. That's how much authority were given unto the woman in the Bobo Ashanti Livity. It was never something to suppress the woman. Of course, it took a while for the brethren to adapt to certain things who might have been stiff-necked or hard-headed, but there were a lot of elders who knew of I&I responsibility. However, some of us also needed to learn and embrace that, especially coming out of the world of, slavery and being oppressed for so long, going through all those tribulations. For I and I to embrace such responsibility, we had to grow into that as well, and within the Trinity, I say all of that to say within the Trinity, which represents the mother, father, and the child, right? Who brings the life forward is the woman, is the mother. So she literally is the creator. And as I was doing in my presentation before, look at the term was zero. The word one. However, we know one is not the first number. Zero is the first number. So I connected the word zero with the number zero. Her being the dark hole, the nothingness where all things came from. So she literally has a certain divine nature within her that should be reverenced and should be honored and acknowledged as the Alpha. However, we've been taught that Haile Selassie is Alpha and then Empress Menen is Omega. However, for me, through the revelations, I've seen it different. Our mother is the Alpha, and then with His Majesty being the King of Kings, He is the Omega. And let me break this down scientifically. When it came to me, this is what came. Her being the Alpha, right? The one that brings forward the life, with her standing with Him, who is the Omega, the one that carries the seed, that's where life will be eternal. Because as far as I've been taught, I remember in the Bobo Ashanti Livity, Alpha means the beginning and Omega means without end. So with Him carrying the seed, because of Him, there would be no end. Because He could always, the black man, the male period could always impregnate the woman, which is His first, to continue life. So that's what was revealed to me. Her being Alpha, Him being Omega. I know it's going to be controversial. People is going to probably...
Very controversial. Very controversial.
People are going to fight me for it, but what came to me, and this is how I cite it.
Yes, very controversial.
I
always talk to Rasses, I think that the man is the head, is the Alpha, I hold that as I principle. And I know Blue Fire deal with the Rasses, and I say, Ras mean head. I don't know how that works, but
yes, but Alpha don't mean head though. I mean that's what we were taught. But yes, Alpha doesn't mean head.
It's beginning. The beginning.
And
you could say it begin with the seed of life, and the woman nurture the seed like the earth, planted in the earth. What I mean? But the seed is where the spark comes from. So I mean, So
Yeah,
it's reasoning, you know, it's a reasoning that have to take place. And it is very controversial. I'm a man that love the reasoning, you know. I will sit down here with you till morning. I will go back and forth and and go through it
share
deep.
the
That is
information.
I, you know what I mean? But some people get emotional. And what I don't like, and this is why I say that we are non-aligned on this platform, even though I'm a Naya Bingi man, um, because we argue over the doctrine and then no work don't get done. You know what I mean?
Correct.
We will
Correct.
argue over the flag upside down, it upright, and then we don't have one school, we don't have one health center. You know what I mean? We don't have functioning businesses, but we are argue. So that's, you know, but I love it though. I love the reasoning because
I
that's
love
how you
to think
sharpen,
and
you know,
work.
that's how you sharpen your irids. And that's the tradition that I come from, you know what I mean? And the ones like Dr. Walete, Dr. Jazanai, some of the most brilliant women I know on this planet, you know what I mean? So I look forward for one day come sit up with the blue fire them and we're going at it and
True.
we hear all the angles and we are gonna bring Ambassador 7 with I too. Because
Yes,
we got
sir.
the reasoning man that, you know what I mean? Um
But you were saying, like I was saying about the Sibyls, right? I don't know if
yeah,
you're familiar with the Vatican itself. Some of
yes.
the Sibyls, that was an area where the Sibyls' first churches or temples were built. It was in
Okay.
the Vatican, it was in Jerusalem. You know, you're familiar with the fact that, of course, Empress Menen gave her crown to the
Yes.
of the nativity. Again, that was easy for her to do because her being the priestess too, you know, she holds the Trinity within herself as the mother of creation, just like the moon have its different phases, the waxing, the waning, the full. You know, our mother also represents that Trinity within herself, you know,
Yes.
and
I
her
look
being
at that as an ultimate sacrifice because when she was crowned, she was given that as a crown eternal. And from she gave up that crown, her health deteriorated and she, you know, she left the physical
it was a
form. So I look at
it
that
was
as an ultimate sacrifice. You know what I
and
mean?
you gave it to the Church of the Nativity, which was in Bethlehem. If
Yes.
we study Bethlehem, we study there's a place called the Gates of Huldah, right?
Yes.
The Gates of Huldah have different churches, right? Or temples. And with these temples, again, these were the sacred seats of the Sibyls. And you know the story of Solomon and Sheba, where
Yes.
the ark was moved, so to speak. It was a whole mystical shift that took place. It's another controversial topic because ones would say Solomon have to do with, you know, a man that had a whole lot of women and stuff like that. But from my studies, I've understand again, soul of man, Ra'amun, again, the Kandaki, they actually had to go to Ra'amun to offer their sons in order for their sons to become kings to sit on thrones. And this is why Sheba also had to take this trip to sit among Ra'amun, Sal Amun, in order for her son to sit on the throne. This is how the seed ended up through her lineage that His Majesty could sit on a throne. And it was also moved from the north to the south. This is our glory when we study. You understand? So if you study even the kingdom of Aksum and you study those ancient kingdoms, Jerusalem and all these places were involved. It was never separated. You
No.
understand? And this is why up to this day, even in Yemen, there's a place where the Queen of Sheba has her temple. It was a
Yes.
very wealthy place because a lot of trading and stuff would take place.
All of Yemen was part of Ethiopia. Ethiopia conquered right up to Saudi Arabia. The year that the Prophet Muhammad was born, an Ethiopian general was invading Mecca with elephants. The year of the elephant, it's called, you know, Ethiopian general of the emperor who had split off. So Ethiopia, Yemen, and I tell people go and Google the Yemeni Jews. You know what I mean? Dark skinned black people. You know, so there's always been that communication between Yemen, Ethiopia. The original Saudi Arabian people are Kushite. You know what I mean? All of those regions were Kushite, were part of the Kushite kingdom. So the I is very correct, and people don't understand how much people traveled in the ancient world either. You know what I mean? We think
Correct.
of everything as separate. No, you had traders that were going back and forth
Correct.
constantly bringing information, bringing, this is why in the Kebra gas you see up until India, they say Menelik the first rule up until India. That don't mean that Menelik is going to India every day and thing. It just means that they acknowledge, Ethiopia as being the supreme kingdom of that time. They have to send tribute. You know what I
And
mean?
the reality is the whole of that area was actually Ethiopia at one
Yes.
point. And the Atlantic Ocean was considered the Ethiopian Sea.
Ethiopian Sea, yes.
So that whole landmass was Ethiopia at one point. There was no North and South Africa and all those different names in between. It was one Ethiopia at some point.
That's why His Majesty chose to use the name Ethiopia instead of Abyssinia, because Ethiopia is a Pan-African concept and term. It means that all black people, and people don't really get that. You know what I mean? Because Menelik time and all these, it was Ethiopia, Aksum. It was going more after the king. It's really His Majesty that stamped that sound, which was a concept that was out there. Ones would call it Ethiopia, but there was, the kingdoms had their own names, you know what I mean? And His Majesty is the one now said, no, we are Ethiopian, Pan-African to the core. So what I want to talk about now is the journey to food, because we know the eye is brilliant and we're going to bring the eye forward. I think we have to do like a prophetess panel with the eye and some other sisters and just go into the divine feminine and all these concepts. You know what I mean? I like to hear different ideas. But I want to get into the eye food journey. The eye is a master chef. Everybody say you have to taste Empress Karima sip. You know what I mean? And you're gonna see a master at work. Where did the bubbling and the chef part start? Where did that journey begin?
Again, I would say this is something that's a family. When we have Speedy Redemption is a family. Speedy Redemption is not just my face. I would be the first to say I was never aspiring to become a chef. My thing was always medicine, healing, was. However, circumstances, again, like I said, after I and the brethren meet, our place of abode was in St. Croix, and when we came together at that time, we had our first two princesses, to be self-sufficient. I could remember when him and his mom decided, let's do food, because that's something that, his mom have always been doing for years. Burgers, patés, and him being the firstborn, he was able to pick up such skills as well, so both of us, being again, like, part of the Rastafari livity and being able to be self-sufficient, we feed ourselves, nourish ourselves. He had the skill of cooking, I had the skill of cooking, I could remember saying, I'm going to go to St. Thomas and go to school, y'all could run the business, I'll come over on the weekends. And, for him, it was like, no, it can't work like that. We have to find a way to make it work. We would have to stay, together and, be with, the business together instead of it being something separate at that time. Of course, it's a deeper reason than that, but, that was the journey started there, where they were able to acquire a food van through his grandparents. And, with me being there, I would always be in the kitchen with his mom when she's dubbing food. I would bring my flavor, her flavor. We would all cook together, just like how the Rastafari families would do it all the time, and, prepare meals for each other's earth strong and just livity in itself. And when the food van came about, I had the expertise and the knowledge in how to go about getting, fundings and stuff like that. So with them being able to get the food van, me being able to get certain fundings, we decided, okay, let's do the business. And it was a partnership between the three of us, myself, him, and his mom, and from there we continue to grow, we continue to build, we continue to learn. Because as we grew within it, I've seen where our foods have also evolved and changed into, what it is today. you know, because of course, you know, when we first started off, just like, I wouldn't say we were cooking any processed foods, because a lot of the processed foods came out and became more prevalent after we had already loosened. So at that time, I think it had more like the grillers and like dinner roast and those kind of different foods. But I didn't deal with egg, so that was not something that we would have on our menu. You know, we would have our stew peas and our scalloped potatoes, and you know, we would always create dishes, greens. You know, and as we continue to go, we have the pasta too, yes. But as we continue to go and learn more, because both of us mystically have the same blood type, you know, and I could remember saying to myself, well, you know, how come? And I would be frustrated. I became self-conscious of it too, where I would find myself always having runny eyes or itchy ears, or my nose or something would be running. And I'd be like, but like, why am I feeling like I'm always sick, not knowing I'm having allergies, you know? And I came across this book called Eat Right for Your Blood Type when we had moved to St. Thomas. And the book shows you how important it is to eat based on your blood type. You know, and me being a blood type O, I said, you know what, let me try this and see how beneficial it is. And of course, you know, you're eating your wheat bread, you're eating your peanut butter, peanut punch. And one of the things I learned is that peanut butter is a no-no for people with O positive blood.
Okay.
Wheat bread, wheat, anything wheat, anything citrus, no oranges. Pineapple is highly beneficial for us because of the enzymes. Papaya is highly beneficial for us because of the enzymes. But when it comes to certain fruits, any kind of nightshade fruits is what we should have. Anything outside of that, it causes us to have mucus and acidity, because the O positive blood is already acidic. So when you compound that with more acidity, then that's what creates the antihistamines in the bloodstream to try to fight off, you know, this foreign thing that your blood is not recognizing, you know, what it's from, you know. And because I was able to make certain changes and I noticed it have, you know, cleared my skin, I wasn't having as much reactions. And then, you know, when I do eat a pate or say eat a sandwich or something, and I realize I'm having this reaction again, I made the connection that we do have to eat based on our blood type.
Yes.
And so we learned this, then we started creating a menu for Speedy Redemption that's, you know, since the O positive blood is the most prevalent blood type, we decided that, okay, let's start to make foods that's gonna not only help people with O positive blood, but, you know, be able to help those that are vegans as well, because a lot of people started to make a lot of foods vegetarian wise and have a lot of cheese and, you know, stuff. And we decided that, you know, no, you know, it has to be Ital, vital, you know. We did have the name Speedy Redemption vegan food, but we are Italists. You understand? We're not the vegan store. You would buy tofu and things. We learned a lot of our brethren would come and ask for tofu and stuff like that. We educate them and let them know that, okay, even though you want vegan tofu and stuff like that, certain vegan meals, we're not going to do it because we care about you. Tofu literally robs our brethren of zinc, you know, which is very essential when it comes to our brethren's prostate, you know, when it comes to their reproductive system, a certain metabolic functions of different organs. So, you know, even though it's a money-making thing, for us, it was not going to be part of our menu on a regular basis because we want to get the healing benefits out of what we sell.
So say that again. Say that you said tofu is not good for your prostate.
No, not as people with O positive blood, mystically, you could have a little tofu here and there. It's not going to rob you of the zinc, like, you know, if it's a person with A positive, B positive. You know, with O positive, you're more tolerant than other people, but not because you're more tolerant mean we're going to have it all the time either.
Yes.
We're cognizant of that, and because we are aware of the benefits of nuts and seeds and grains, these are the things that we have more so on our menu so that you could be able to get your zinc, magnesium, phosphorus, you know, potassium, everything that you need mineral-wise is why we have that spectrum provided through Speedy Redemption food that have been giving us, you know, positive results You know, and besides the food, we have done certain tonics and elixirs and herbs, because herbs are very important. That's something I think that we've been overlooking. You know, we get up every day, we go in, we cook, we eat, we drink juice, but then we forget about the herb. You know, the plant kingdom have been one of the greatest, you know, most obedient kingdom in this entire planet. You know, they do what they have to do. We just have to connect with them. You know, our brethren should stay on your hembe. They should stay on their sacramento regularly. You know, stay on.
What do those things do? Break it down for us.
For example, the sacramento berries, right? These berries actually help to regulate the prostate gland, right? And in keeping the prostate gland regulated, it helps your reproduction in male or female. Once you target that reproductive organ, which basically it kind of holds the genetic codes in it, just like how it have fruits with seeds, they have their genetic code. In our reproduction, holds our genetic codes, right? So once you nourish that, you take care of that, then ultimately you get overall health. You know,
what's it called?
Sacramento berries.
Sapamento, and you have it as a tea, or how would you have it?
As a tea, yes. If you want to, you could even make your tea and have it cold with your juices. If you want to add a little honey to it, you know, we have to make our medicine our food, make it flavorful. That's why I think people appreciate love Speedy Redemption, because we would take the things that are medicinal and make it flavorful so that you could keep coming and full joy in it and having results, you know, because we've had people, for example, with diabetes, right? I had a cousin that had diabetes so severe that she would have to take these medications, and she literally was, you know, she would, when she goes to sleep, sometimes her family would be afraid that she wouldn't wake up, and certain times they would have to like shake her, you know, vigorously in order to get her to wake up and stuff like that. That's how severe her case was. And she came and she was able to get employment with us, you know, because she was home for a long time. And I felt like she had totally given up on life. You know, like her thing was just fixing puzzles, and, you know, she was able to repent. To her, she repented. She spoke to all kind of people she had malice with. And, you know, sometimes for people who we know are facing challenges, who feel like they could go any day it could go anytime, you would hear them talk about their God, my God this and my God. And that's how she was speaking, literally. And, you know, being with us for the first few weeks, you know, one of our policies is once you're with us for 6 hours or more per day, then you're entitled to have a meal and a drink, right? And at first she would bring her salads like every day. And for her, it was economical because, you know, being her husband, paying all the bills and stuff like that, to try to, you know, I guess bring balance to her livity. She would have her salads and bring them every single day to work. But her salads were salads that were made with produce that came from the markdown aisle. You know, like the lettuce that may have some brown spots, or so it was still not as beneficial for her as it needed to be. Because every day I could remember her going on time to make sure she take her medication and stuff. And from the time she came and she was like, you know, let me try the lentil loaf. You know, but before she even said, let me try the lentil loaf, she would watch her straight up and be like, I ain't in this vegan thing with I this vegetarian. I like my meat. Like, this is her you know, persona when it comes to vegan food. Like, no, I want my meat. I ain't in that guy. But then she was like, I guess the smells and the aromas enticed her to try, you know. And she tried the lentil loaf first because, you know, according to studies in the health, lentils are good for people that are diabetic. Okay. So when she tried the lentil loaf, she was like, I could do this, you know. It tasted good to her. And then it went from the lentil loaf to our millet porridge. She started having the millet porridge with us in the morning, you know, and then I noticed she started writing on every single thing we're doing. So then come to know, find out she was doing them at home. You know, she started to gain weight again because she had lost so much weight because, you know, most diabetics, you know, when they get to that stage, they lose a lot of weight. They don't look like themselves. She literally wasn't looking like herself. But, you know, after starting to eat the foods on a regular basis, she wasn't bringing her salads anymore. She was looking forward to her plate of food that she could get on a basis, her millet porridge and stuff she started to make at home. And she made a whole 360, right? To the point where I could remember I had getting my feelings because I hearing her talking to, people on the phone, like she's in interviews, like getting ready to look for a job. This is a person didn't want to work. It's only because my grandmother brought her there. She saw the lines that we used to have, and her coming, it helped to cut down the line a little bit and stuff for
Yes.
the people. But, I heard her in the interview saying, well, this job that she was looking for was a job for a man. And she would tell the people, she was telling the person on the line, the interviewer, you won't get no more man than me. I was like, okay, you feel that strong? Like, yeah, you ready to go out in the battlefield. To this day, she has that job. And that was 2 years ago. To this day.
So you've seen the healing power of the Speedy Redemption menu.
Correct. As we've curtailed it to be able to do such, And besides that, like I mentioned, some of the things that we make, like the womb tonic, the 13 blend roots for brethrens, these are things that have also helped a lot of people. The 13 blend have helped men that have had erectile dysfunction. And of course, a lot of that come again from not having the proper nourishment for the prostate, not having the right proper circulation, and too much acid. A lot of times our brethren have become acidic. And because of that acidity, it would stop them even from having an erection. You understand? So with the 13 blend, it actually helped, a lot of the brethren. We've had a lot of pregnant moms, couldn't eat certain foods. A lot of pregnant moms, would throw up from certain foods, and all they could eat is the Speedy Redemption lentil burger. So we will have a lot of babies that was born just off of the Speedy Redemption burger, you know what I mean? Because that's all their moms could have eat,
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, we just glorify that, the Almighty have been
a lot of people out there, because of alcohol use, the erectile dysfunction as well. And as you say, the fatty foods, bad circulation will mash you up, especially when you hit 40 and above.
Correct.
You know what I mean? When you get older. And then also exercise is so crucial.
Correct.
To keep moving.
Correct.
One of the things I'm going to bring forward shortly some of the pictures that we had showed, and I can explain what we're looking at.
True, that's the problem.
That you showed. But before we get to that, I want to touch a touchy subject. And I spoke to the eye about this, but I see you don't shy away from controversy. So one of the things I'm noticing, particularly with a lot of our Rastafari and Pan-African family, is that seeing a lot of ones carrying weight, you know what I mean? Belly fat, you have a big belly, you're elder. That shouldn't be the case, you know what I mean? If we're promoting Ital, livity, longevity, when you look at centenarians, people who live over 100, there are no overweight centenarians, all of them are slim people, you know what I mean? So obviously we're not doing something right. Talk to us about the weight. Do you see the same problem? Because a lot of us may be eating, but maybe we're eating too much carbs, you know what I mean? Maybe we're eating late night, you know what I mean? We're eating before we go to bed, and we go to bed with a full belly. How can we tackle this weight issue?
I do agree. There's several things I would say creates that waste. Some things that we might not think of. One of the things that I would say that I know that I'm going to mention that first because I know the average person is not thinking about it. But parasites. I think we're eating vegetarian food, we're eating vegan food. A lot of I, like you say, even though we're Pan-Africanists, we're, conscious ones. Even in Rastafari, there's one still eating cheese, or one still eating certain foods that are byproducts, with milk in them, whether it's a cookie, a famous Amos, or Chips Ahoy, or, you know what I'm saying? Because you already grew with these things, so sometimes it's hard for us to let it go. And I could say that because I could even remember as I'm trotting one day, I had pulled up on a sister, and I could remember seeing her because of her trying to put something like in a hidden way, made my eye draw to it. You know what I'm saying? And it was a muscatel. And I'm like, okay, that's your choice, but this is why. And I remember that same sister would always have allergies. Come to find out, when I was reason to her, she had the same O positive blood. We shouldn't have nothing with milk. Nothing at all with milk. No, nobody should be using anything with milk from an animal.
Yes.
You know, and one of the things that happens to us when we eat certain things, there's certain parasites that dwell within not only our bowels, they would dwell in our tissues. And remember, these parasites have waste. You understand? So if we eating these things, you know, even if it's hidden, we hiding, and that's another thing, we have to be true to ourselves. We can't say we're a certain people, we living and eating a certain way, and then we hiding to do certain things. It's going to show. You know, whether you admit it or not verbally, it's going to show physically. You know, so that's the first thing we have to do, be truthful to ourselves. You know, once we're truthful to ourselves, then we could be false to no one, as our great prophet Marcus Messiah Garvey said. Yes. You know, so
stick a pin. I want the people to know this is a safe space. This is not a blame game. We're not pointing any fingers at anyone, but it's a fire. You know, it's love and fire. And right now we need to be fit for the Armageddon.
Correct.
We have too many. Let's talk to Rastafari people. Too much of us carrying excess weight, and I'm seeing too many people dying at young ages. 60 is not really old for you to be dying. 70 is not old for you to be dying, and I see 70-year-old woman with abdominals and lift weights and I do all kind of things. So it's the choices that we're making. So I just want people to be clear that we're not pointing fingers or saying we're better than you or this or that, but it's to highlight this because we're not talking about it. It's just happening and no one is addressing it. So continue.
Yes, as I was mentioning about the parasites actually, if we maintain the parasite cleanses, then we could help. That's another way we could help start to flush certain things out. Because like I mentioned, the waste sits on us too. You know, and that's part of what we're carrying, whether it becomes water waste or fluid waste. People, the doctors will call it water, excess water, but it's actual fluid. You know, not only from your own body, but from these parasites as well, the overs. So it's important for us to always have things like wormwood, you know, clove. You could actually have your alkaline water and drop clove within your water. You know, and just have that to drink on a regular basis to help flush some of those parasites from your system. You know, your cinnamon as well. Some people like to use the lemon to help keep the blood alkaline. A certain bacteria can live in the alkaline goodie as well. But, you know, ridding the body of parasites is very, very, very important. Secondly, I should try to avoid eating in the night period. We have to get forward on the circadian rhythm, you know, where we eat certain things at specific times, so that our body could naturally be able to regulate its own goodie structure as far as the weight goes. So you have a natural body weight, a natural body weight based on you and who you are as an individual, right? So if we learn how to avoid foods, especially from 6 o'clock in certain areas, by 6 o'clock the sun is already set, by 7, 8, 9, depending on where you are. Once that sun sets, make it your business to not eat, especially if you already have been eating through the day. The world have taught us to eat 3 meals a day. If you're eating 3 meals a day, they don't need to be big plates of just, you know, starches and fats and, you know, food combination. That brings me to food.
Okay, anytime we get heavy Wi-Fi, the guy start show up. We're gonna just take time and bubble the sip family. We're going into health and wellness tonight. Get your pen and paper. Write these things down.
Can you hear me?
Precious. Yes, we lost the idea. I was talking about the protocol for health. You know, continue. Can you hear?
Okay.
I hear. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, pretty eye. I was talking about food combination, right?
Yes.
A lot of us have learned to eat food. The cup of cold drink behind the food, like, yes, that just top, you know, the icing on the cake. But having, you know, those big cold glasses of drinks whether it's water or juice most of all, that's what it usually be. That creates in itself an acidic reaction because certain foods should not be combined, like fruits and starches and vegetables and proteins. Like you're trying to combine everything all at once. So instead of actually like digesting food, your body end up sending off acids to try to fix this one, to digest this one thing. And then, something else is there. So it's like once it comes together in your body, it ferments. It actually starts to ferment, deteriorate, and rot before it could actually get a nutrients. You understand? So that in itself, that acidity again creates inflammation. And that in itself again creates weight, right? So food combination is very, very important. If you have to drink something like ginger, for example. At Speedy Redemption, that's why we do more what we call prebiotic drinks or prebiotic foods like the ginger, the turmeric, the lemon, hibiscus. We try not to do too much fruit juices as much as we would want to have passion fruit and like different fruit juices, tamarind, and we would love to have those, but because we know people are going to eat and drink, we prefer to have the prebiotic drinks. Like I said, the ginger lemonade, the turmeric lemonade. Those drinks, if you have to eat and drink, at least you can know that those would form prebiotics in your body so that the enzymes would be there to help your body break down the food. You understand?
Yes.
So,
I just recently learned you're not supposed to juice fruits because you're supposed to eat it with the fiber. Yes. And if you juice the fruits, it makes your blood sugar spike.
Correct.
Because you're supposed to have it with the fiber and the sugars released slowly with the fiber. So I just learned that. So we're always learning, but continue. Some fascinating. Get your pen and paper. Make sure you're writing these things down. This is very important information.
And as I mentioned, the tall cup of cold drink, that's a whole nother factor in itself again. We have adapted these ways of drinking cold drinks. Cold drinks swells the organs. It naturally swells your stomach, every one of your organs. Once this coldness goes within your structure, it swells. It's totally different when you do teas, though. Teas help your organs to regulate their own size. It's kind of like
but the cold drink tastes so nice in the summertime. What you try to tell me? What kind of something you try to tell me? My ice cube. I'm a nice little. So how do
think about it. Before there were refrigerators and freezers, were there any ice cubes? No. We would have to do our juices natural, and most of the time, actually, the juices would come from the fruit we eat. We didn't have to have a juice on the side where we would have to sweeten it and make a juice to drink. That's again another behavior that we adapted, and we have to think about the lifestyle that we live in. We're not our original lifestyle, our original livity is not what we're practicing today, so we have to just return to some of the original ways that we have had before so that we can become, reflective of the earth that we live in, because your cells naturally regenerate themselves, naturally renew. So we are supposed to be able to literally sustain life eternal, but again, because of how we were taught, not only mentally, but physically, as one of our great masters from the Dogon tribe, say Master Naba, we die because we serve a deity that died and resurrected. The whole, Jesus concept, not to offend anyone, but according to the Dogons, we have lost our way and, we have lost the way of knowing how to put on what we call the Merkaba, the light body, that buoy that makes you know how to move through dimensions. As I talk about the magic before, that was something naturally a part of us because of how we lived. You understand? Like, it could be like how they talk about His Majesty when they say he was in a dungeon, and when they went in there, they want to know where he gone, and then there were just these doves, and and up to this day, there's indigenous culture you could go to, and people could literally transform. Like, these things are not far-fetched or like illusion movie scripts. Is real, but we have to be in a specific state of being for this to happen. We were
frequency and vibration.
Correct. We were made to eat in this way that we become more dense in a sense. So we stuck to just this physical realm when there's other realms that exist that we can also transmit and, move to those realms as well, not only on the mental plane, but also physically,
Wow.
So it's just important, again, for us to just return on to that natural circadian rhythm and listen to your goodie. One of the most important things is for you to listen to your goodie. If you eat something and you start to get gas, it's not for you. You eat something, your ears start to itch, it's not for you. You start to, or you're rubbing your eyes all the time. You have to stop. You have to stop, because then it's going to have an adverse reaction.
Yes.
And most of the time that reaction is either weight, diabetes, leaky gut, all these things could be prevented if we just eat right and listen to our
I can't eat white rice. If I eat too much white rice, I get mucus, nose running, all of that from I eat too much white rice. You know what I mean? Rice in general, I have to be very careful. Starches, I have to be very careful, especially in the summertime. So it makes a difference what you consume.
Correct.
As I saying, I feel the heat because I even as you're talking, my producer, who is also my wife, is looking at me because she know me like me Ice Cube. So my producer look for me, Empress Karima, and I'm gonna hear it now from now on. You mash up my life tonight, but I'm willing to go through it because I want to live longer.
It's true. It helps. It really helps. And I mean, if we look at every culture, the indigenous people, they eat a certain way. I mean, the Chinese serve a lot of rice. Hope, unfortunately, melanated people would run to the Chinese and be eating all this rice. And, it works for them because of where they are geographically located. So it's based on our geographic locations, our origins. So if we eat based on that, then it would help us, tremendously.
Because I can eat yam and them thing, the ground food, I'm fine. But rice, it don't work for I.
It's difficult because I as melanated people, we could thrive on ground food and we could thrive on food that, that stretches far up to the sun, that gets its nutrition from the sun, whether coconut or papaya or, mangoes. We would thrive on those things too because, again, we're the seed of the soil, we're the original people, and we just have to return on to that. If we're conscious of these things, let's make those things our snacks. You need something sweet, eat a mango. You need something sweet, eat a papaya or a pineapple, or, if you have to have a chip, cut up some plantain, green ones, and fry them if you have to, and eat them, or dehydrate them and eat them. We just have to make an effort to do better. Because again, if we are aware of the Food and Drug Administration, it's a whole scheme and a plot against us so that we could keep coming to the system, to keep them rich. Because again, remember, we are the ones that have to project a reality for a people that doesn't have melanin. They can't do it for themselves. You understand? So in order for them to stay rich, stay wealthy, our sickness and our demise is what makes them to thrive, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is, and with the Food and Drug Administration being one, that in itself says something. If I eat your food, then I'm going to have to come to your pharmacy because I'm not relying on my FARM no more. I have to go to your PHARM, so again, it's psychology and tricks on the mind, it's a whole diabolical, plan against us as a people, as humanity, not just, melanated people, humanity, period. Anyone that is ignorant, then the system would thrive off of them, unfortunately. That's why I can remember this one book called The Idiot Nation. America might seem like one of the richest nations, but, around the world on a global scale, I look at as an idiot nation because of the things that we do. Like, why do you do the things you do? So without the US dollar or without the currency.
For people who don't know, you're in St. Thomas, which you spend US dollars. It's part of the US considered. Explain St. Thomas, because we have a big African audience, so they might be like, boy, she want to add fire upon America, but she lives in, for all intents and purposes, a colony of America. It's not Poland or anything else. Explain how the Virgin Islands work, the U.S. Virgin Islands?
The U.S. Virgin Islands actually consist of different islands. The three main islands are St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix. St. Croix at first was, where the flagships would, the leaders would be at first, until during the time of Denmark, being able to sell the islands to the Americas, and through, political scheme and, them knowing the history of the people, a lot more of the revolutionary people. I wouldn't say just St. Croix only, but a lot of the revolutionary people lived on St. Croix as well, and systematically the capital was moved to St. Thomas, right? And to this day, St. Thomas holds the capital. And I would say a lot more of the funds have been flowing through St. Thomas, although St. Croix is kind of like a playground for the rich and wealthy, because St. Croix has a lot of beautiful land.
Yes.
Has the space
Beautiful.
in between the homes are extensive. In St. Thomas, it's becoming a lot crowded, and
Yes, I heard. I've never been to St. Thomas, but I heard it's a lot more urban, like more city
correct.
vibration in St. Thomas. I went to St. Croix. I fell in love with St. Croix. Big up, or I should say, I stand in love with St. Croix. Big up all of the St. Croix man. Them I was made an honorary crucial. Big up all of my St. Croix family, Tafari, all of the St. Croix family them. But talk to okay, so we talk about weight, and I want everyone, because people are watching the eye and think that you're a young lady. They don't know you're a mother of 7.
Yes.
And you've been on the trot for a while, but because of how you eat, you know what I mean?
Correct.
You maintain your slimness, you maintain your thing, but also one of the things I noticed with the eye is the skin. Talk to people about the maintenance of skin. I know that skin is your largest organ, and your skin will tell you about your general health, but tell people some of the things that the eye do specifically to maintain such. The eye is glowing, you know what I mean? Your skin. Talk to us about skincare.
Well, to be honest, like my third princess like to say, I don't want to have to go to the market to buy anything to put on my skin. I don't want to have to go and get anything with chemicals, and as I mentioned before, I was raised in a Rastafari livity. I used to eat a certain way, but then of course coming into the concrete jungle, and again, we have bared off and were able to get weight and those things, and then we were introduced to cheese and stuff like that very, very young. That cut out by a certain period of time after we start to know better again. But I would say my skin was not always as radiant as it looks now, because I remember then I would eat more things. I would definitely have things like chocolate, cookies, chocolate. Growing up, you go to school, you try all kinds of stuff. But again, because I have learned, and overstand myself, and I was determined to live a more rich life, a more fulfilled life, a more healthy life. I was determined to not be a kind of person that would go in the dark and cheat. I would not hide to go and eat a cookie, or I would not go and hide to eat, anything that is detrimental, to my health. So besides eating the way we cook at the Speedy Redemption, where what I cook is what I eat as well. I don't just sell people stuff and then go and eat something different, totally different. Of course, there's times you might have to go support other businesses, which is natural. We would do that too. But we would stick as much as possible to what I prepared for I sell. And besides the eating of foods, I would say I'm a person, I love to do my juice cleanses, which I don't do them periodically throughout a year. I would probably do them twice a year. I would do
skin cleanse. What does that look like? The skin cleanse.
Not only to say a skin cleanse, but a whole good juice only that I would. The juicing that I would do would be a combination of like cucumber, parsley, cilantro. These are things that would rid the body of heavy metals. Not only heavy metals, but toxins, parasites, ginger, cayenne pepper, these are the things that I would do when I'm juicing, you know, for the first 2 days. And then the last day I'll do something like coconut water, or I'll do something like watermelon juices. That's the only time I would juice. But other than that, after I come off or something like that, then I'll just eat fruits, you know, for another couple of days before I start to get into food again. But these are the things that we must do in order to regulate our system too. There's a time you have to fast from food. Like right now, we're going through the Lent, some are going through the Ramadan. These are things I think were naturally in place for I to help keep regulate I system. It shouldn't just be something quote unquote religious, but just natural. You know, it's natural for us to do these things. And if you study the time of the year that these things happen, right now we're just coming out of the cold season. When Lent started, it was like the most severe cold within the US, you know, and then when you come out of that and you go through your fast, it's like your body going through the fast with the earth too, like a cleanse with the earth. Because the earth naturally cleanses herself during what we call a Lent. And we were able to actually witness these things even living here in the Caribbean. You know, you would hear the elders say, you know, don't swim during the Lent because at that time they call the ground sea is up, because, you know, the ocean is churning and everything that's to the bottom is just stirring up and the waves come crashing in heavier. And sometimes you would literally see the beach face look totally different because of all the sand being pulled back from these heavy waves. And you would see the roots of some of the coconut trees and the grapefruit, sea grape trees and stuff. And as the Lent start to come to an end, and we literally come to the beach again when it's time to swim, it's like a whole new blanket of sand on the beach. And this is done by nature in herself, you know. And, you know, with us going through the Lent fast, even as Bobo Ashanti, it might seem like, okay, we're eating vegetarian food, we're eating vegan food, but even I should be fasting. I should take a break from eating solid foods. And even if it's herbal teas, it doesn't have to be juicing. It could be herbal teas just to detox and cleanse the goodies.
I fast 1 day strong, you know. I try to fast just coconut water 1 day strong. I do like a 32-hour fast from Sunday night, and then I don't eat again till Tuesday morning.
True.
It's been very helpful for you know.
It does help. You know?
Yeah.
Even in Ashanti, Emmanuel have taught us to fast throughout the Stram. You know, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. You know, I would do a fast from 12 to 12. You know, 12 midnight to 12 midday. You know, and during that time of fasting, again, you're giving your body a chance to cleanse, rejuvenate itself. Because in fasting, your body actually able to replenish cells. You know, without the interference of it having to digest food, you know. So it helps us to be able to fast, you know, and it helps us to learn discipline as well, you know, because we have come to a point where we're not controlling the food, but the food controlling us. We start to have all these craves, and, you know, it's all a mental thing, you know, even though there's certain chemicals that were diabolically placed in there to make us crave them. You know, it's up to I to be aware of this and make the necessary changes so that the generations to come could have an ensample. And I mean, besides the eating, as you mentioned, it's very, very, very important to exercise, you know, exercise and sweat out the toxins too, because your sweat
a lot of black people don't exercise, you know, especially Caribbean black people. They'll
tell you straight up, I don't want to sweat. Why? It's because you might smell your own odor. That tells you something. You know, if you don't want to smell your own odor, then you have to check yourself. You have to do something again to help yourself, because you really shouldn't have this odor. That means you have too much bacteria. Number one, you're not drinking enough water or fluids, or you're not getting enough H3Os, which are the fruits. The fruits, if you eat a lot of fruits, you'll have a natural sweet scent. You have a natural, you know, if you fast for those 3 days and just juices, even when I mentioned the cilantro and the parsley, parsley is a natural.
All right, family. Patience. Wi-Fi the guy. Always come when we get deep into some topics. But we are really fully enjoying this reasoning. Let me just read some of the comments while we wait for Empress Karima to come forward. Haile, Selassie the first and Empress Menen. Asfa, big up yourself, Africa first. Mama Ifia family. Love, Rastafari, Honorable Ayata, yes, Mama Ifia, Honorable Bongo Wisely, the Kingman represented well. The I upholding the standard. I have a memory of that estate harmony shanty. Big up Bongo Wisely. Ross Greg, big up yourself. Bless up to the Lion Voice Network. Grand Rising, Bongo Wisely. You know that we always give thanks for the eye. Grandma always told me from far, don't drink while eating. Yes, because you dilute the stomach acid. We learned that as well. You have to listen to your body. That is right. I'll be sure to visit the VI. Big up yourself, Freeway Dread, Lion Pride on Patreon, checking in. When Empress Karima comes forward, I'm going to bring up some images of the food and have her explain some of the work that Speedy Redemption does. But in the meantime, again, just give thanks for everyone watching live, the hundreds of people who will watch on the replay. It really is an honor. Bring forward that Empress Menen flyer for our producer. Producer, bring forward the Empress Menen flyer. Empress Karima is here, but we just want to bring it up quickly. We just announced our Empress Menen panel. If you're just joining us, April 3rd on Empress Menen Earth Strong, we have a massive panel, special episode. Bring forward Empress Karima. So we'll look out. We're doing it in conjunction with the Association of Rastafari Creatives. So look out for this panel. This is our second annual Empress Menen panel. We are going to be talking about the life, the history. We're going to go into the history of Empress Menen. We're going to go into the legacy via Rastafari women and her other legacies in Ethiopia, whether it be the church, education, and we're going to talk about the impact, global impact of Queen Amiga rising, as she is rising predominantly through Rastafari women globally, you know, very prominent. All right, producer, bring up the food. I'm going to ask Empress Karima to describe what we're looking at on the Speedy Redemption menu. How much does a plate cost, Empress Karima? A general plate if I want full my belly at Speedy Redemption.
Well, we have two platter sizes. We have the small, it's $20.
Yes.
And the large platter is $28. We try to keep it as affordable as possible because
Yes.
to be I use only olive oil, coconut oil only. We don't use no type of hydrogenated oils. You know, and
Yes.
as you mentioned, you know, I skin, that's something I was going to talk about too. The fact that you know, besides the exercise and the sweating and, you know, making sure I hydrate with fruits, I would also use black seed oil. You know, every now and again, I would use black seed oil because black seed oil would help not only with the skin, it would help with the lubrication of joints and, you know, also ridding my goodie of certain cholesterols, because certain cholesterols as well is what helps to break out your skin. So the black seed oil, who wants to know, is very, very important. And I would use black seed oil as opposed to coconut oil because of my blood type. You know, other blood types like A or B, you could probably do more like a tablespoon of coconut oil every now and again, you know, olive oil as well. But it's very important to take certain oils that could rid the body of cholesterols as well.
Give thanks. What are we looking at on the screen right now?
On the screen here, we have a chickpea stew that's right in a forward by the salad.
Yes.
That's some seasoned basmati rice. We have some avocado as well. And then we do this saute of portobello mushrooms and Brussels sprouts. A nice little toss with some seasonings. You know, that's something that we would do on a cook food day. Like we would have that in Crown Bay most of our, sometimes like if we do raw food on a Tuesday and a Thursday, that's the both days that we have strictly raw food. When it has like ships in and stuff and we know it's going to be heavily populated in that area, then we would do 2 menus. We would have the cooked food menu, and we would also have the raw food menu. But yeah, that was one of the dishes that was a cooked food menu.
Okay, what are we looking at here?
This is a salad. It consists of like arugula, the red onions. Red onions are very important. A lot of people kind of run from the onions because of the smell and stuff like that. But it helps with the mucous membranes. You know, it helps with your immunity as well. I would suggest, even if you have to eat onions, if you want to avoid a certain that scent, you know, that might linger, that a lot of people run from, you know, just have a little lemon juice behind of it. You know, just squeeze a little lemon juice in your mouth. The lemon helps to keep that scent that you don't like too much down. You know, there's also some greens in there that are chopped. I could see some collard greens. That collard greens, the lacinato kale. The lacinato kale is also chopped and finely minced in there to get all your iron and your calcium.
Okay.
You know, the peppers we use a lot of those peppers too because they're very high in vitamin C. You know, so it helps a lot with your immunity as well.
Give thanks. Give me the next item. Okay, what's this here?
Those are the famous lentil burger sandwiches.
Put it back to the famous sandwich, yes.
Yeah, that burger is what Speedy Redemption is known for the most. The lentil burger is made from scratch. And as you could see, you get more of the inside than bread. And we choose to use pita bread again because you're not having all of that doughy substance when you nourish on that burger. You know, so when you get a burger, you get more of the fibers from the lettuce and carrots, you know, the enzymes from the sprouts, the fatty oils from the avocados, you know. So that burger was first originally made without the avocados and plantain. As I mentioned before, Bassa was accustomed to making, his mom was accustomed to making these Rastafari burgers with a thing called Nature Burger back in the day.
Yes.
And they would put plantains, like they would, you know, you would see Rasta people sometimes just put plantain between of a bread and eat it, you know, and some people would wonder at that time, but, you know, when the world was able to taste the flavors, the burst of flavors that you actually get, you know, because he said, you know, let's try it with the, it was already popular, and then again became more popular when the plantains and avocados added on to it. You know, it added that Caribbean flair that just irresistible to folks. Folks even start to call it the crack burger. I'm like, no crack. But
and you say you use what do you use for the bread?
The pita, you know, the pita bread.
Yes.
Yeah, the most Middle Easterners would use those pita bread, that style of bread, you know, as opposed to the doughy big buns that we are accustomed to in America and probably certain places like this. You know, we more use those finer breads, you know, so that you could get more of what's in the middle as opposed to all of that doughy.
Yes.
You know,
I'm looking forward. I'm gonna bring my queen to St. Thomas and we're gonna come and film at Speedy Redemption.
True. We look forward to serving the I, you know, we look forward to serving the I royal family and, you know, the royal empress. You know, it helps us, you know, to continue our great work, you know, when we get the response of our customers and, you know, their satisfaction, you know, whether it's the health or the flavor. So the health and the flavor have to go hand in hand. You know, it can't be without the other. You know, because that's what keeps them coming, you know, having that flavorfulness within the health food. Because some people think health food would just be a bland taste until when they actually taste it, you know.
I love it. All right, next picture.
Oh, that's the same.
We saw that one already. Keep going. What's this here?
Okay, this is the live food. Now, this food we have prepared, and I would say most of our dishes have something live in it. Again, that's when we have realized that, again, not making anyone feel any way, but I, even as Rastafari, we would say we don't eat no deaders, but at the end of the day, when you cooking your food and everything mixed up in this big yaba pot with a bunch of wrong food and broccoli and cabbage and everything kind of cooked down soft, and there's no more enzymes in it. That's kind of like dead food. You know, same thing with eating this pot.
There are levels to
Vegetables
everything.
are out. It has in it anymore. It's actual dead food. You know, there's no enzymes in there. You know, so not to be offensive or anything, but the reality is we've been eating our food too. You know, so to bring the balance.
There's levels to everything. You know, when you come in, there's heights to climb, and raw food is that higher heights. You know, so what is this that we're looking at here?
Right here we have kale salad. Of course, that's the green substance that we see in the the walnut patty.
Okay.
That patty is made from walnuts, and I challenge everyone that's hearing this live right now and the healing power of food and nutrition, right? Because that's another thing that we've done that we probably didn't know better at the time. But a lot of I used to eat a lot of nuts in place of meat. You know, when we don't want meat, we'll eat peanuts, especially peanuts and cashews. Unfortunately, that's where a lot of our brothers and sisters, lost a lot of teeth, at a very young age in the livity because we ate too much peanuts and cashews. Those are very acidic nuts. And,
yes, I found that out late. I used to eat enough of them when I was in college. When I was first, Ital just buy a big bag of peanut and eat them, So
it's not everything for human consumption either, but
yes.
Again, we're not knowing better, wanting to make sure we stray away from eating meat and have a different substitute because we were always taught that we have to have proteins. So our next start was to go on to the nuts, which are very good. Nuts are good, but certain nuts should not be consumed. Peanut for one,
What to me peanut punch? Hold on there. You have fight against me peanut punch?
I'm sorry, yes, but I'm fighting against your peanut punch.
What are you saying to me? You're causing controversy on Lion Voice.
Okay, do this. Try this instead of your peanut punch. Get some chia seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, especially for our brethren, high in zinc and magnesium. And you take those and you blend them up with your almond. If you have to use your almond milk or your soy milk, what you're accustomed to using, you use that with your cinnamon and stuff. And you taste that and tell me if you miss your peanut punch. You ain't gonna miss the peanut punch when you do that. But that's what we do.
You hear that, brethren? You hear that, brethren? Don't complain to because peanut punch is a staple.
Peanut punch is very acidic. I'm sorry to tell you all, but it's very, very acidic.
What about if we have peanut mash? Peanut mash don't help balance out the acid.
When you say mash?
Irish mash, peanut.
You can do the mash without peanut. You don't have to have peanut, but at least the mash would help to do something. Because the mash is alkaline, it's rich with nutrients, 92 different trace minerals in there. Okay. So if you have
family, she's trying to break our hearts. The peanut man, the whole peanut industry, we have to go find a new industry. But continue.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, I pray. Yes, but try those instead. Like say the seeds, your sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. Try those, even if you have to add a little banana here and there to it.
Yes.
Maca root powder. Trust me, you're gonna love your booty gonna tell you when you drink that compared to a peanut punch the difference. Because we gotta be real. When you done drink a whole lot of peanut punch, sometimes you're gassy. Some of us might want to admit it, but it's true. You're gassy.
It's true.
And then it was shown in our lifestyle because again, those teeth wouldn't have broken down if broken down. We wasn't eating so much cashews and peanuts. And then another thing, what the challenge is that I was telling you.
Hold on there. Because you kick down peanut, you kick down cashew too with peanut?
I ain't gonna say I kicking down the cashews, but people with O positive blood, avoid the cashews. If you have O positive blood, avoid the cashews altogether. People who have O positive blood. You have A positive blood, B positive blood is adaptable. A positives are natural vegans, or Ital people, the vegetarians, plant-based. You can do a little cashews here and there, but this is the challenge, right? When it comes to walnuts, cashews, almonds, all those nuts that I like to just buy from who can't just don't buy from planters, but if we have to buy from planters, most people buy from planters with a little salt on it. Or any company, it could even be raw. Take raw walnuts or raw almonds and put them in twice the amount of water, right? And let it sit overnight. Some people make the milk, so who knows. That patty that you're seeing there is a walnut patty, and we soak the walnut overnight before we make the patty, right? And why I say that is because nuts, when we buy them from the store, whether peanut, cashew, almond, all of them, the enzyme are locked in. They have what they call enzyme inhibitors once they're dried and processed in a way that they could stay on the shelf to have shelf life, right? When them enzyme inhibitors are locked in like that and we eat them dry like that, right? Our goodies don't benefit. We don't get the natural milk substance that we're really supposed to be having, the milk of the earth from the nuts. We get more of the oil, and that's where the acid comes in, right?
Okay,
and
so are you kicking down walnut as well?
No, this is a challenge. The challenge is to put them in water. Take the walnut.
Because I eat walnuts almost every day and pecans almost every day.
You take them straight out the bag and eat them.
Yes.
That's the challenge. I need you to do this. I noticed a lot of people start to say, my doctor said don't eat no more almonds. My doctor said don't eat no nuts. I'm allergic to nuts. But it's not the nuts you're allergic to. What you're allergic to is all the bacteria and debris and all those things that are stuck on the nut during the processing phase. That
you have my producer look for me, Empress Karima. My producer is looking at me because she know me eat all these nuts.
But for real, we need that milky substance from the nut, not the oil so much. So that's the part. When you
need to soak them in water.
You put soak, that's the challenge. Everyone that's listening on this live right now, who's gonna view it even after, I challenge you to take nuts, whether it's almond, walnut, pecan, and you put twice the amount of water in whatever the container is. I would suggest it be a container that is see-through, something that you could literally see through, a glass container, right? When you leave that sit overnight, the water looks so murky. There's so much debris to the bottom. You literally have to rinse your nuts. We don't rinse our nuts before we make that walnut patty that's on the screen. We rinse our nuts after soaking them the night before to even make the patty. And when you see the amount of silt that's in the water, you get to realize this is why you have an allergic reaction. It's not the nut you're allergic to. You're allergic to all the different debris and the bacteria and dirt that's on the nut. And we're eating them and not realizing that that's what we're eating. We're eating a lot of bacteria and dirt on top of these nuts, as much as they're raw. You know, the raw walnut, raw almonds, raw walnuts, raw pecan, we could take them and eat them, but they're very, very dirty and full of bacteria. And again, we're not benefiting because of the enzymes being locked in. They have to be unlocked so that we could get the nut, the milky nutrition out of them. Okay? So I challenge everyone to do that. Try it, soak them overnight, and look at the amount of dirt and debris that comes off of those nuts and the size. The size is totally different.
My nuts. I'm gonna be
the size are totally different, and they become very good snacks. Like once you soak your nuts overnight, you take them, you rinse them off. You could have them in your refrigerator up to a few days. You could put them in bags and travel with them to use to eat. You know, like sometimes I would have my almonds with my. The almonds with the dates together is a very, very healthy, delicious snack, So, I would just challenge everyone to try it. Once you try it,
my producer just
you see
nuts same time,
You
my
say Empress
queen is
oh, I got-
doing a raw food thing right now. So
I'm glad you had that because I wanted to bring some tonight to show the community and see divinely it still happen. You know,
no, because my queen is finding like wherever she is in her trad, cooked food is not agreeing with her. So she's gone fully raw, and
yes.
she's seeing a lot of great results. You know, she was trying to take off some weight and vibes. You know what I mean? We're getting up there in age, and she find that the raw sip is, you
Yes.
know, not tired as
Mhm.
much. You know what I mean? She has more energy,
Mhm.
all these vibes. So
And that's what happened actually during the
yeah,
transition phase for us. Like I said, it's food have changed in Speedy Redemption. I could remember that time. I think it was around like 2014 or so, 15. And my goodie in itself started to say that to me, like, I'm tired of eating pasta. I'm tired of eating just rice and potato salad and, you know what I mean, shoe tofu. And, you know, when my goodie was saying that to me, mystically, our brethren Nayora have an empress that he brought from California. And she was heavy on the raw food, you know, and she brought this book to me from a place called Cafe Gratitude that's in California. And they do all kinds of raw foods and desserts. And that book was a great inspiration for us to, you know, start to get creative and make different raw meals that, you know, once could in you know, full joy.
yeah, I've been certified as a chef, or you just naturally through experience. Have you
No,
taken
naturally through the experience. Yeah, I've never
and have you considered doing a cookbook?
We
Speedy
have
Redemption.
considered it. We have considered it several times. It's actually overdue because we've been asked to do it for years now. We've been talking about doing it for some years now. Another thing that we're embarking on again, which we have done before as well, is our vegan food preparation classes.
Yes.
Trying to do it in a way that we could actually record it and then, you know, have our website set up where you could go on and, you know, pay for the course.
Purchase a course, you know.
Correct. Correct.
That is so needed right now. And it's so powerful. The power of healing yourself through your food, you know what I mean? And we as Rastafari people are pioneers, but it seemed like we got off track somewhere along the line. And I know why, because of stress, poverty,
poverty is
survival. Yeah, survival. You're just trying to make it hand to mouth, you know, and the raw food takes thought and certain prep time and certain thing, and sometimes it become daunting, especially if you live in foreign in the winter time and you just want something quick and hot. And you know, I know it's a lot easier in the Caribbean because you have fresh fruits all the time. Something is in season. But
I mean, I suggest for ones, especially if you have to live in cold places, this is where your herbal teas are important.
yes,
Instead of always having to feel like you have to go and buy a hot plate of food, you could have the same almonds that you had soaked in the water. You know, because we have gotten so accustomed to think food is a plate of food. Food ain't just what we see on a plate to eat. That's, you know, 5 course. You know, food you could simply have a couple of those almond nuts and eat and sustain you for a couple hours to a day. You know, and get another fruit and eat. You know, and these are the things that we act like sun ripened food, the fruits. You know, if we don't have the fruits and it's winter time, the herbal teas. And herb is a mystical thing where you dry it, it becomes even more potent. So if you know the winter coming, you already have your herbs drying, you always have something hot because you could keep your hot thermos of hot tea and then you don't have to worry about going to buy something. You know what I'm saying? It's just all again about discipline. And it's not as daunting and as hard as you think. You know, because just like you have to prepare a meal, you have to chop vegetables, you have to put them in a processor, you have to, you know, it's the same thing with vegan food or live food. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to us to make the change. You know, it's not hard as we think. Because if we think it's hard, then it's going to be hard. If we think of it as being easy, it's actually going to be easy. It's revolutionary, actually. You know, because then you get away from all these pastas and like you literally, like right now, I can't even see myself just eating those pastas with the 3 colors. You know, everybody like those Rasta pasta with the red, gold, and green. And, you know, I got so accustomed to eating a certain way. I would prefer to just take a handful of soap walnuts and eat them than to be enticed by pasta. You know what I mean? So again, it's all in how you train yourself. If you want
Yes.
a certain quality life, then you're gonna do what it takes necessary to do such. You know?
What kind of exercise? And I'm gonna let the eye go shortly, but because we've gone over 2 hours. What
True.
type of exercise as a mama? Because um is practical for the eye, to do, because some people not gonna go run or do this or that. But what can give the children them some things that they can do in terms of exercise, and then just food that they can eat, to just some basic things for sistren, because it's Women's History Month. We have a lot of younger sistren who watch the platform. We have a lot of family in Africa. We have a huge African audience. What would you recommend for them in terms of exercise, some quick things that they can do, and foods that they should be emphasizing, and maybe break it down by age?
Right. As far as exercises, to be honest, you don't have to do too much. Walking literally is a great exercise. You could walk a little 2 or 3 miles every day, early in the morning, afternoon, whatever hours you choose is very, very good, because then you're using your whole body to walk. And in that, you're getting a whole body workout, right? One of the other more important things to do is squats. If you could do squats at home, you don't even have to leave your home, and doing the squats would actually help with your ankles from having a lot of people go through, they call it water again, but it's fluid, excess fluid in the booty, and it settle in your ankles, and doing a lot of squats and stuff would also help to regulate um, that fluid and help it to move, as opposed to it just being stuck there from you standing on your feet all day. I would say if you lay on your back and do simple leg lifts, that would help with your tummy. If you walk naturally and keep yourself poised, always keep your core tight. That in itself also helps, for you to keep and regulate your tummy. I would also say, you could do different twists of the body. If you stand firm and just twist yourself in a way that you point in your elbows to the front and the back, that would
Yes.
also help to strengthen your core muscles. Um, the bridge, where you would lay on your back and you would literally place your hands close to your ankles and pull your body up off the ground as much as possible with your
Yes.
head down. That's another important exercise that we have to do that would actually help to strengthen the thigh muscles, and the glutes and stuff like that. And one of the things that are very important that a lot of us are going through, that is a very touchy topic, and a lot of people don't talk about it, but a lot of females go through, prolapse, whether it's prolapse of the uterine or the bladder or the colon. A lot of us, especially those who have had multiple births, we would go through prolapse, and that bridge would actually help, to bring the prolapse, back in place, and mystically there's certain countries like in France, give birth, they would actually give you free pelvic floor therapy for
Yes.
6 months to help bring your pelvic floor back to its
Okay.
natural place. Because that's a whole other thing too that would help you to gain weight if you're not being able to do bowel movements regular the way you should, as a result of the prolapse and stuff like that. That's where those exercises would be very important. Even the yoga, like if you could sit and, put your glutes to the wall and keep your feet all the way up a 90-degree position, all of that helps with the prolapse. It helps with circulation, and stuff like that. Those are little simple things. And if you could look at like some people do wall Pilates now too. I would encourage people to do that, because then you don't have to leave your home. You don't have to go to a gym to do wall Pilates. If you don't have to necessarily invest in weights, like you could have a gallon bottle of water and lift weights with a gallon bottle of water. So you could just become as innovative as possible so that you could maintain your own exercise regimen and not feel like, okay, I have to join a gym, do a gym membership, or if it's cold outside, I don't want to go out in the cold to walk. I've learned over the years, some people like to jog, but unless your pelvic floor is in the right place, jogging is not, the best exercise, because then your organs in there just bouncing, and that could not be as beneficial as if you're just doing walking, a fast-paced walk or something, So it all depends on the individual, you know. Um, but those are some few exercises that you can do. And tease, as much tease as you can, the red raspberry tea, the mother's word, the ashwagandha, you know, to cleanse, you have to use the cascara, the senna, these are different things that we should try to keep in our cabinets as much
Yes,
as
I have to
possible.
do a better job with the teas.
And for females especially, it's very important for us to keep up with those, because those are the things that would help us to regulate our own metabolic system, because our metabolism can slow down a lot quicker than the men, the brethren's own. So, it's best for us to keep up as much as possible with herbs that would help the metabolic function, you know, in our goodies, along with the exercising and the proper eating, and please, as females, try our best, not to eat past 6 o'clock, or at least when the sun set, because the time zones are different depending on where you are. So avoiding eating in the night is very important. If you're hungry, even if you didn't eat all day, a nice hot cup of tea, even if it's a hot cup of cocoa, you have the natural cocoa that you could use, 100% cocoa with some type of natural milk, almond milk, walnut milk, something. If you need something more than just a herbal tea, you could do something like that with a little honey or agave, you know. But just try your best not to eat late. That
And
that really does something to us, that
a lot
our
of us,
like, yeah,
a lot
because
of us
our
that eat late.
replenishing cells is trying to digest food, and it really don't get to digest the food, because the function of the goodie when it's in its rest state is to release the serotonin, which is necessary for your goodie to replenish cells and stuff like that. So instead of having your goodie fighting at night, let it do what it needs to do naturally. So I would just
Yeah.
recommend those 2 tips.
I love all of those points. And the other thing I would tell people is the Kegel exercise for men and women. Exercise your Kegel muscles.
Mm-hmm.
Very important, especially for the brethren them, also for the sistren. And if you don't know what the Kegels are, you can Google it and figure it out. But those are also very important for I and I. Give us some final sound. We're gone 2 hours. We did a little bit of overtime, but we have to bring the eye forward as a regular contributor, because I really want to use this platform to help us to heal as a family, a global family. I find that the Rastafari family is dying young and younger. You know what I mean? When I see the age of some of our elders that are passing away, they are not really that ancient. They're passing in their 60s, and I'm seeing people with regular Babylonian health issues, but they are Rastafari people. And we're dealing with kidney failure, we're dealing with diabetes, we're dealing with hypertension, high blood pressure, all of these things that we as Ital people supposed to have conquered. You know what I mean? So I really want to focus on this on the platform. So I want to thank the eye for coming forward. This is just an opening case. We're gonna have to bring the eye forward again to go deeper. And just know that this is the I platform, the I family. Know that you have a place anytime you want to launch anything, you want to reach the global Rastafari family. We are here. You know what I mean? From I met the I King man, Miss Cisse is a powerful lion, and hearing about the eye and then meeting the eye, it again, it's an inspiration. And I know a lot of young brethren and sistren see the eye them and can say, yeah, I can have that too. That is a possibility. It exists in earth, a Rastafari family, second and third, fourth generation. Next time I reason with the eye, do I want to reason about these new generation of youths who are in the digital age, because that's a whole nother story, because they are so exposed to so many things. I want to know how they them deal with the screen era, you know, where everybody on phone and screens and these things. So, but we'll get to that. Give us some final word sound, just a final sound to the global family.
True. One of the main things I would always reiterate is to be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. That's very, very important. Like, you know, the scriptures talk about a virtuous woman, you know, and just upright people. You know, you can't go it not out by night. And that simply means that, you know, what you do in the light, you do in the dark. You know, don't live a certain way or say you live in a certain way, talk a certain talk, and then you live in a whole different way. You know, even when it comes to your health, you know, your health is in your hands, you know, just like the hieroglyphs talk about, you know, knowing thyself, knowing yourself. You know, I challenge you to go. A lot of I don't even know about blood types. First of all, you go and find out what your blood type is. You know, and there's a book called Eat Right for Your Blood Type. That's a very good guide. You know, that could help you to, you know some do's and don'ts. That's a whole another topic by itself. But you know, once we could go by that book, it would help you tremendously. And listen to your goodie. If your goodie if you eat something and you get a rash, it's not for you. You know, your throat itchy is not for you. Eyes itchy, gas is not for you. So listen to your goodie. You know, the animals, if they know something ain't good for them, all they have to do is smell it and they just gone. But us, we would eat something because it tastes so good. We know it don't be good for us. Let me try it this time and see if it's going to, knowing fully well you're going to go through the same reaction. You know? So control yourself, and what you eat more so than what you eat control you. You know? Another thing too I want to share is in relationships is a lot. You know, it's not always peaches and cream and butterflies, and you know, there's ways and means that we have to be able to understand how to tolerate each other first of all, and either be willing to tolerate each other, or you know, let ones be free. You understand? Because you can't control any other person. You understand? Everyone will come with their own personalities. Everyone will come with their own ideas, you know, but there's a time where you would come together, you would have dialogue, you know, and in dialoguing and sharing and living and growing, you would realize that, okay, you have a whole different perspective than I do, but at the same time, we can build, we can grow, you know. Certain things you could accept and grow and build upon. Certain things, of course, you wouldn't tolerate. Like, for example, you wouldn't want to stay in a relationship if it's abusive, whether physically, mentally, verbally, you know. So it all depends on the situation that you're in. You understand? It's not going to always be, like I said, peaches and cream. And if you think about trying to live a life of a bed of roses, roses have thorns. You understand? So it's not going to always be perfect. It's not going to always be easy, but it's up to the parties in the relationship to be able to understand each other enough, you know, to know the do's and don'ts, you know. And one of the key things is respect, you know, having that respect. You know, I know people use this new term. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a new term, but what I'm hearing more so now than ever is boundaries, you know, like, okay, I have to set boundaries. You understand? But in boundaries, it creates separation in a sense. But the term in itself means being able to respect. You understand? If you know someone don't have a certain tolerance for something, then don't cross over into that realm that would make them feel uncomfortable. You know, just be able to respect each other enough to tolerate each other. Because certain things is intolerable, you know, and one of the worst things is disrespect, you know, on all levels, you know, whether it's physically, spiritually, emotionally, you know, disrespect is something that is not tolerable. And, you know, I would not encourage someone to try to stick in a relationship where there's disrespect. You know, again, there's going to be different perspectives, and you don't want to have anyone in bondage either. You know, if you don't agree with something, it's perfectly fine if the person who you're with has a different perspective. That's why you complement each other in the first place. You know, if you all two are exactly the same, then Do you think you would really, really, really survive together? You know, that's something you have to ask yourself. You know, two people can't be exactly the same and expect to have a successful relationship. It's about complementing each other. You know, you might be great at one thing, I'm great at something, and we come together and bring it, you know, into a fruition where we all benefit, we all thrive, you know, and then the generations after will thrive as well, you know. And in love in itself, you can't be blind in love. You know, in love in itself, you still have to understand yourself. If you don't understand yourself and what you like, what you don't like, you know, then you would fall for anything. And then when you realize it's something you can't deal with long enough, you now tripping because it's like, okay, I ain't exercising my right, or I ain't feel free. It's like I just going along to get along, and you don't want to find yourself there, you know. So it all boils down to just having that mutual respect and understanding, you know, and be willing to grow. You know, if you're in anything and you're not growing, then you shouldn't be there. You know, His Majesty speaks about that too. You know, in life, we are continuously growing, we continuously learning, you know. And although some folks would grow out of each other, I don't know if ones would agree with that, but some people literally grow out of each other, or grow out of that type of everlasting thing. Like people come into specific reasons, right? And when you could understand why people come into your life, then you would better know how to deal with the individuals, you know. And that happens in relationships too, you know. So again, like I say, it's not always perfect, you know, but try to find that one path, you know, because it's not going to just be one thing that's going to gel you. That path that is going to, you know, bring that gel is what's going to keep you together, you know. And as you mentioned in the beginning of the conversation, you know, having that spiritual foundation, you know, having that if Rastafari is your livity, then you have to live that. You know, you just keep the Sabbath, then you keep the Sabbath. You know, you go into your scripture, share certain knowledge with each other, share certain information with each other. Let the youth them see you living that, and not just speaking it, you know, in the public eye, or you know, when it looks good or sound good. You know, let the youth them see and feel that vibration so that they could be confident in it too. You understand? It's not something that is just a show and tell. And I think a lot of us have became, you know, just show and tell. And a lot of times that's what causes, you know, relationships to break up, because the genuinity is not there, you know, because His Majesty speaks of that too. You know, that's the only way we could really, the only way we could be really genuine is through that discipline, you know. And the discipline starts with self first, you know. If you truly live in a certain way and you truly are a certain way, then you live that, you know. So
mighty. And I would like to I have a show called Lion Love on this platform where we deal with relationship topics. And I would love to have the I and the King man, because I want to, right now I'm talking to single sistren, and then I'm going to talk to some single brethren, and then I want to talk to couples together, you know, because I feel like relationships within a livity is a big problem, and we're not addressing it. You know, it's like the elephant in the room, and we are lion culture. So why we have an elephant and we not address the elephant like we're afraid of it?
It's true though.
Lion, you know. But the relationships. I did an episode on Saturday that's lighting the place on fire. How to treat single Rastafari sistren. I think I got some enemies because I tell the brethren about celibacy and certain vibes, and I think they want war me now, you know. I mean, because I'm saying we have too many broken homes. So if you're not sure, you know what I mean, you can't be planting your seed and you're not sure, you know what I mean? Because we've seen the results. We're not getting good results, you know what I mean? If we're getting good results, that's a different story. We continue. But we see brethren moving to sistren and leaving these broken homes, and we're not getting good results. So I'm telling the brethren to practice that discipline, you know. And His Majesty said we have to be a leader. You have to control your bodily needs and desires, you know. And in this Armageddon, we have to take radical measures, you know what I mean? So I think I lost some subscribers, some I think some brethren vexed with I, you know what I mean? But I have to take a stand, you know what I mean? Because again, nobody else, I don't hear anybody else with this reason. I have brethren that want 2 wife, 3 wife, and can't manage one, you know what I mean? So it's like we gotta get our
Back to
head.
the mentality, like I was saying before, but it's so much things to reason upon it. That's like a whole different topic by
It's a
itself.
whole topic.
But
It's
like
a
you were mentioning about the Salaman and the
yes,
Kandaki, right?
yes.
And they were taught about Solomon having many wives. I don't know. Once there's something called a mojaji, and it happens to this day, right? And unfortunately, the Europeans don't understand it, you know, and they probably corrupted it a certain way, and this homosexuality and all that. We
Yeah,
know that
yeah,
it's
yeah.
come from I, but there's something called a mojaji, right? In certain indigenous cultures in the motherland, and these mojajis are a set of females, right, that could literally call rain, right? And when the specific mojaji time is up, right, she marries another mojaji. The ceremony with a woman marrying a woman to carry on the torch of these rain, these persons that cause the rain. And that's a deep, deep, deep thing. It has nothing to do with homosexuality or nothing. It's just a specific lineage, a specific duty of work that is supposed to be done, right? And this is another controversial thing again, but the Salaman thing, that was actually a female. The Kandaki going before this throne, bringing her son in order for him to sit on the throne. It had nothing to do with no man having no a woman. It had nothing to do with that. But that's a whole other topic
You wait to
again.
the end of this to
That's a
show
whole
if
other
you bring the
topic.
controversy. You wait to
That's
the
a
end of the
whole
show
topic.
to bring the
That's a whole
controversy.
other topic for
That's
you.
a
A
whole
whole other.
topic. We have to, but because Solomon is what the brethren them use when they want a lot of woman.
Ask them if
So
they know the whole history.
yeah, and I'm not against polygamy if you have the resources, the economics to deal with it, but it's not a poor man livity, you know what I mean? But that's a whole nother topic.
A whole other topic.
We're gonna have to bring the eye back and just call it the controversial topic hour, and we just touch all of these topics because I'm fascinated to hear more about the philosophies and the source material. We love that over here, so that we can all study and learn. But again, I want to thank the eye. It's been a pleasure. You did not disappoint I, and I have been waiting for this reasoning, and I was not disappointed in the least. The eye is a brilliant sister, a mother, master chef, healer, you know, so many things, as are many of our Rastafari and Pan-African sisters. We really give thanks for the black woman of the earth. And I want to just, again, welcome the item to the Lion Voice platform. We reason with the King Man, Ambassador 7, Ras Basali. Check out his episode. We now have the Queen, and you know what I mean, Rastafari family in full effect. And again, when we go to St. Thomas, when I finally make it there, I just got a new camera, 4K. We're gonna come and film and because I wanna highlight some of our Rastafari businesses and Ital spots, you know what I mean? So that will be down the line. We can talk about that. And there's so much that we want to do to promote because I see the eye having franchises all over the continent of Speedy Redemption. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see.
Yes, that's actually one of the family plans. That's one of our long-term goal plans that I and I have been planning. You know, and if you once your youth them have that same type of vision, and you know they would tell you we didn't do all this work in vain. You know, we're gonna have a Speedy Redemption here and there, and You know, besides franchising, we're gonna literally own them ourselves too.
Yes,
So
yes,
that's motivation and encouragement to continue, because it's not easy doing it here in the VI, especially where everything is imported. You know,
yes.
and we try to keep the food as affordable as possible. And
I was
as,
shocked by the prices. I'm gonna be honest with the item. I was shocked by the prices in the
you know, we
VI.
have people that complain about the price. We have people that
Yes,
complain about the price. But as I
because
see, our deep fryer has olive oil, my brethren. That's how
yes,
serious we are about not using hydrogenated oils.
no, it's serious. Because in VI, you're not getting a plate of food for under $20. It's not gonna happen. That's even it's more expensive than mainland US, but because the item import so many things, that's why it costs so much. And I had a $30 plate. I can't remember the place in St. Croix down by Old Park there. The Ital spot down there. It was $30 for an Ital plate. I said, wow, you know what I mean? That would be 2 meals in DC at a regular kind of vegan spot, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I realized that. But at the same time, you have to invest in your goodie, you know what I mean? So
Exactly.
you can either pay now or you pay later at the hospital and medication and all of that. So I'd rather pay up front and
Correct.
high quality food than have to pay later. But
And then enjoy life. It's true.
yeah, man. So
Like supposed to be full joy in life freely, you know, not having to spend all your funds at a doctor office. You know?
definitely, definitely. But
Doctor.
again, give thanks. We're gonna call the eye forward, and we'll talk offline. We're building. We're still a young channel, a young platform, but we're building, and we're uniting, and we see the item as a key, and the I family as a key part of this entity. So give thanks for everything that the item do. Family, we had Master Chef, we had mother of 7, we had the wife, sister, the daughter, Rastafari daughter, Rastafari queen, Rastafari Empress Karima here, and we're gonna continue. Get ready for the Empress Menen panel. We'll still have our regular Wednesday live next strong. We'll announce the sister for the next Wednesday live, but then make sure you also return Thursday for the big panel. All of the sisters that are coming forward are going to talk about a unique aspect as it relates to Empress Menen. So get ready. This is going to be a massive event, must see TV. So make sure you're ready for that. Big up all of the Lion Pride. Make sure you subscribe, share, join us in the Patreon. Remember, next strong, the 100 Lion Pride Strong campaign is over. If you want to get the one-on-one consultations and build your own creative ecosystem, get in by April 1st. After April 1st, we'll announce a new campaign for ones to come on Patreon. But if you want the one-on-one, you want to build something, I recommend coming in now. Don't get vexed when we reach 1 million subscribers and you say, boy, I could have get in and I could have, don't get vexed. Do it now. You have the chance. You're going to look forward on this and say, why me never take action, brethren and sisters, and join us. 30 of us are in there. Big up also Marie Robinson, just because that's one of my Lion Pride and Patreon. I never hear from the sister, but she's faithful supporter from them time that we have so many ones that just quietly support us every month with their hard-earned dollars. We don't take the item for granted. Big up on yourself. We are going to take this to blockbuster stage. We're going to have animated Rastafari content. We're going to have the whole suite. That is where we're going with this, and we're going to do it together, family. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the lion voice, Rastafari.
Time has come for the lioness to tell her own story.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions. and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
This is Mama Thea of Asli Pure, and when I want to hear the story from the lion and the lioness, I listen to Lion Voice with Kwasi, Bonsu.
Greetings. I'm Sister Aisha Diana Conwood, currently the Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Time for the lioness to roar. You know, this is the lion's voice. Lioness, let's roar, lion pour.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up lion's voice. Now put it. I Jollifer said that.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.